Chapter 804. The golden light bathed the Nine Regions world for a while before dispersing. Within the heaven-sealing palace, the two ancient characters in the air spun and merged into Night Sorrow's body. Cultivators have to fight against the heavens. The world is the same. It's also a fight against the heavenly Tao. The future of the Nine Regions world depends on you. The energy body sighed. Then can I bring others here to get a title? Asked Night Sorrow. Of course. You can leave now. The energy body waved its arm, and Night Sorrow's energy surged. Then Night Sorrow appeared at the entrance of the heaven-sealing palace. Good kid, you've become a titled immortal. That's really amazing. Clear Sky Saint King looked at Night Sorrow with gratification. It wasn't easy to get this title, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Clear Sky Saint King then told Night Sorrow about some of the problems with the Clear Sky scripture. Then Night Sorrow planned to leave. He planned to bring some people to the heaven-sealing palace to get a title. After all, the karmic luck of the Nine Regions world was a huge benefit. Night Sorrow, don't bring too many people in. The Nine Regions origin energy situation isn't too good right now. If you bring in a large group of people, it'll be a huge burden on her, said Clear Sky Saint King to Night Sorrow. Yes, I'll bring some people who are close to me, Yishan said. At this moment, a thought appeared in Yishan's mind, and that was to not exceed 20 people. This was the current limit of the Nine Regions origin energy. If it exceeded this number, she would not open the heaven-sealing hall. Night Sorrow knew that this was the Nine Regions origin energy's meaning. It'll be very difficult for you to go back and forth, said Clear Sky Saint King to Night Sorrow. Can you set up a teleportation formation? Asked Night Sorrow. It's useless. There are spatial storms raging outside Clear Sky City. When you teleport, it'll be easy for the spatial turbulence to destroy the spatial channel. The result will be death, said Clear Sky Saint King. Then I can only continue to travel through the void turbulence. Night Sorrow exhaled. There's nothing we can do about it, Clear Sky Saint King said. Following this, the Clear Sky Saint King told Night Sorrow that he wouldn't appear anymore. As for the other things, if it wasn't necessary, he shouldn't tell anyone else. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and understood. He knew that this would cause panic. Some things needed to be done by himself. Even if he told others, it would be meaningless. Child, you have to be careful. The Nine Regions world already knows about the immortal title. If you go out and bring others here, you won't be able to hide the fact that you have an immortal title. Killing people to steal fate has happened from time to time. Clear Sky Saint King said to Night Sorrow. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. Also, there's a map in the storage ring I gave you. It has the symbols of the world passages around the Nine Regions world. The Netherworld is a very warlike world. It often fights with the Nine Regions world. The Nether Beasts are very powerful. They're the most warlike race under the Nether race. Clear Sky Saint King reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Then he told him about the Supreme River Space and the Nether World, as well as the relationship between them and Clear Sky City. This is troublesome. War will happen sooner or later. The other thing you have to pay attention to is the profound mysteries realm. It's a human world and has a very strong desire to fight. They attacked us once, but they were defeated by Void Tao Saint King. You have to go and take a look. We can't let them rise, said Clear Sky Saint King. Isn't that tantamount to invasion? Night Sorrow said. He was a little disgusted by the idea of invasion. Haha, it's not invasion. Whether it's the Netherworld or the profound mysteries realm, they both want to take over our Nine Regions world. It's not the first time they've started a war. Attacking them is a form of defense. Clear Sky Saint King saw Night Sorrow's concern and smiled. Then I'm relieved. Since they want to take over our Nine Regions world, we'll fight back, Night Sorrow said. Remember, repairing the Nine Regions world is the most important thing. All right, I'll go to the Sky Sealing Hall to recover a little. Then, I'll stabilize the 1,000 derivation Great Formation. That way, when the spatial storm outside dissipates, Clear Sky City can still exist. The Nine Regions Origin Protective Shield is not afraid of the attacks of the Otherworlders. We'll kill as many as we can, but we're afraid of the Nine Regions world's people destroying it. Later, I'll set up some formations. The 1,000 derivation killing formation and 1,000 derivation illusory formation are in the storage ring I gave you. You can come and go as you please in the future, Clear Sky Saint King told Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. After that, Night Sorrow left the sky sealing hall and flew toward the edge of the realm sea. The chaotic spatial storm's existence gave Night Sorrow a headache. The main problem was that it consumed a lot of energy, but it was unavoidable. After spending a day and 2,000 high-grade spirit stones, Night Sorrow returned to the island in the realm sea where he and She were staying. "You're back." She threw herself into Night Sorrow's arms when she saw Night Sorrow. "I'm back, and I even got a title," Night Sorrow said as he hugged She. "I'm very angry. You abandoned me at a critical moment and ran away by yourself," She said as she punched Night Sorrow's shoulder. Night Sorrow wrapped She up and entered the space-time pagoda. She immediately asked Night Sorrow about his trip to Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from She and told her about the situation in detail. "I see. I know about the Central Province Prefecture. It's the territory of Jiyu's family, but I don't know about Su Daotian. I just didn't expect Night Moon's family to be the descendants of Clear Sky Sage King. It seems that you're the hope of the 9 realms," She said. "I plan to go back and call Grandpa, Father, Mother, Aunt Faye, and Godslayer's little brother, the 3 supremacies. I'll also call a few saints from the Celestial Terminus Tower to go to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall to get a title," Yi Shang said. "Then I'll meet the people from Tianji Tower. If Xiaolan Jun recognizes me, it'll be troublesome. I don't want to cause any trouble, and I don't want you to waste time explaining," She said. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, "I won't put you on the same floor as the others. That way, there won't be any possibility of you meeting each other. As for the test, I'll think of a way to split you into several groups. Get on the QDZ network as soon as possible." She thought for a moment and nodded. She respected Night Sorrow's idea very much. "I want to be with you," She said as she hugged Night Sorrow's neck. "You're simply a fairy, okay?" Night Sorrow nodded. After the passion, Night Sorrow released the airship and set off for Clear Sky City. Chapter 805. Sitting in the flying ship, Night Sorrow opened the Clear Sky Sage King's storage ring. When the Clear Sky Sage King had given the storage ring to Night Sorrow, he had erased the soul imprint on the storage ring. Night Sorrow took out a sword with spatial energy fluctuations. Night Sorrow knew that this was a high-grade saint artifact. It was the Clear Sky Sage King's sword. "You're not going to give it away again, are you? You have the spatial attribute. This sword is very suitable for you. You can also cultivate sword arts," said She. "I want to give it to my grandfather," said Night Sorrow. "It's useless. Even if you give it to him, he just became a saint. He won't be able to use it. You should keep it for now," said She to Night Sorrow. She was thinking from Night Sorrow's point of view. "Then let's wait and see," said Night Sorrow after thinking for a moment. Next, Night Sorrow took out an ancient book. It was the Clear Sky scripture left behind by the Clear Sky Sage King. After putting away the Clear Sky scripture, Night Sorrow took out 2 diagrams. Then he took out a map of the 9 regions world and the surrounding worlds. Night Sorrow looked at the map and found that it was very different from the current 9 regions world. He could only make a rough estimate. The 9 regions world from 10,000 years ago was completely different from the current 9 regions world. After tidying up, Night Sorrow stretched his waist. "That's all?" asked She to Night Sorrow. "Yes, that's all. When I have time, I'll go cultivate the Clear Sky scripture. It'll take some time to change from the Sacred Cauldron scripture to the Clear Sky scripture," said Night Sorrow. 10,000 years ago, the continent's first Saint King only had so little resources. "That's ridiculous," muttered She. "Sigh, you don't know the whole story. This upper-grade sacred artifact, Sky's slashing sword, has probably been with him for a long time. The Clear Sky Sage King couldn't bear to part with it. He took out all the other resources and used them to construct the 9 regions origin defensive shield." Night Sorrow explained the reason why Clear Sky City didn't have any resources and spiritual chi. "So that's the case. It's really not easy. After knowing the reason, she nodded her head. After arriving at Hauhai City, Night Sorrow received the sky ship and Snow Dusk. They arrived at the teleportation point and began to teleport back to Sky City. After meeting with Yiling Lan, Night Sorrow asked about his mother. After learning that his mother was still in Sky City, Night Sorrow asked Yiling Lan to inform Yiling Huan and his father to look for him. Then, he returned to his mansion. "Son, you ran for a long time," Yu Qing said when she saw Night Sorrow return. "Mother, I'm back," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "The only one in and all others is pirated big brother. When you're not home, Mother talks about you every day." "She can't wait to talk about you," said Yin Yan with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea. However, she was very understanding. She took the tea set from Night Sorrow's hands and began to make tea. "Don't tell me she has the potential to become a sister-in-law." Yin Yan smiled as she looked at she and muttered, "A child like you shouldn't speak nonsense." Yu Qing glared at Yin Yan Xiao. Soon after, Yiling Huan arrived. While everyone was drinking tea together, Yi Weio also arrived at the residence. "What is it? What do you need me to do?" Yi Weio looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He was afraid that his son would be wronged. "There are no outsiders here, so I'll get straight to the point." Night Sorrow said that he had entered Haotian City and obtained a title. "You mean you can bring some people in?" Yiling Huan looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. "Yes, but not too many. Grandfather, you can arrange it," Night Sorrow said to Yiling Huan. "Your parents must go. Grandfather will not decline. Night Moon also has 4 emperors. In addition, your 6th uncle, King Ling Huan, should also go. Isn't there a bit too many people?" After Yiling Huan mentioned a few people, he smiled at Night Sorrow. "This was because there were 8 people. I'm the one who will bring people in. I'm from Night Moon, so others naturally can't say anything. In addition, our god-slaying squad has 3 venerables. Yin Huang, Ling Long, and Liang you'll also go." "That's 11 people," Night Sorrow said. "Besides the people from Night Moon's dynasty, Wu Lingfei and Long Xiansheng must go." As for the people from Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that he should put them aside. After all, the venerables from Medicine Valley were not very strong, and there was some gap between them and the venerables from the God-Slaying Squad. It was meaningless for them to go. Including Shi, there were 14 people in total. Then there were the people from Tianjin Tower, including Xiaolan Jun, Lin Yuandao, Guo Xiao, Lu Trinswan, and Hua Haining. As for the people from the North Sea region, Night Sorrow could not take care of them. Night Sorrow planned to give the people from Tianjin Tower 5 places. As for the people from Tianjin Tower, they should make their own arrangements. "How about it? Do you have enough places?" Yiling Huan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, "Let's forget about the Medicine Valley. After all, it's not easy to get a title. There's still one more place. Let's see who we can give it to. Then give it to the monarch of the Yun dynasty. This is Grandpa's selfishness. The Taiqing domain must rise." Yiling Huan said again, "Grandpa, I need absolute trust to take everyone there. We need to enter my space, sacred treasure. It could be said that I'm putting their lives in my hands. This time, I'm going to spend thousands of high-grade spirit stones. It's a thankless task." Night Sorrow expressed his concerns. "That's true. Grandpa, let him know. If he goes, he'll have to pay the spirit stones," Yiling Huan said. Then Yiling Huan left Sky City and went to inform Yin Tianlong. "Son, you're the one who made the golden light that filled the sky. You're so domineering." Yu Qing looked at Night Sorrow and said with a smile, "It's really not easy. However, it seems that I passed the examination and got a top-level forbidden title. Even if it's difficult for others, there should be a limit. Mother, you can do it," Night Sorrow said with a smile. While they were talking, Yang Lei and the others returned. Looking at Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi, Night Sorrow told them about this matter. The 3 of them were not venerables and could not participate. Then, Night Sorrow apologized to Sikong Chiyu. He could not take care of the Sikong family at the moment. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chiyu shook his head. "This is the big picture. The people you chose were all chosen for a reason. In terms of qualifications, Yin Huang, Ling Long, and Liang Yu are a bit inferior. However, they're all very outstanding. If they have luck, they will grow faster in the future. Night Sorrow explained the reason for the 3 members of the god-slaying team. Night Sorrow was still thinking about Tianyu. When the time came, he could only communicate with the 9 regions' origin energy alone. Aoi then called Yin Huang and the others over. Night Sorrow told them about this matter. The 3 of them were very happy. Of course, they knew how rare this opportunity was. Then Yi Shunxian, Yi Shanyue, Yi Shunlei, and Yi Shenquang all came. Night Moon and the Emperor, but because of the previous battle, their cultivation was either destroyed or they had no future. 2 hours later, Yi Linghuan also returned. Yin Tianlong is really disappointing. He told the family that he was looking for a breakthrough and then disappeared. Chapter 806. Night Sorrow then nodded at Sikong Chuyu. Then I'll go home and inform my father, Sikong Chuyu said, and left the city in the sky. Sigh, my old man can't even drink soup, let alone eat meat, Yin Huang said bitterly. With the teleportation array, Sikong Chuyu was very fast. He brought his father back in half an hour. Sikong Chuyu gave an introduction to everyone. Sikong Tianding bowed to the 4 emperors of Night Moon, then cupped his hands to Yi Linghuan, Yi Wuyo, and Yu Qing. In-law, I'm very sorry. Because I've been in seclusion recently, I didn't visit Night Sorrow's mother. Yi Wuyo cupped his hands to Sikong Tianding. That's understandable. Chuyu's mother has also been in seclusion recently, so she didn't come, Sikong Tianding said. Canet head, you hair. Yi Linghuan told Sikong Tianding about entering Night Sorrow Spacetime Pagoda because he was handing his life over to Night Sorrow. Haha, a son-in-law is half a son. How can I not trust him? Sikong Tianding said with a smile. As for trusting Night Sorrow and Night Moon's emperors, there was naturally no problem. As for the 3 members of the god-slaying team, there was even less of a problem. Then you guys go in. I'll go to Tianji Tower again, then we'll set off for that small island. Night Sorrow held the Spacetime Pagoda in his right hand and told everyone not to resist. Then he transferred them to the 50th floor of the pagoda and Shi to the 60th floor. After putting everyone into the Spacetime Pagoda, Night Sorrow went to the lake and also put Tianyu, who was cultivating, into the pagoda. Then he rushed to Tianji Tower. When he arrived at Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lin Yuandao and Guoxiao. Night Sorrow said that he could enter Haoyin City and the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Then he said that he could give Lin Yuandao 5 spots, excluding Wu Lingfei. Then let's go to that island first. I'll discuss this with the Supreme Elder. Lin Yuandao thought for a moment, then called for Guoxiao and Hua Haining to follow Night Sorrow to the island in the Realm Sea. In the camp of the Eastern Xian region, Night Sorrow saw Long Xiansheng, Wu Lingfei, Xiaolanjun, and the others. However, Nan Gansheng and Zhen Haisheng were not there. They had brought their own people elsewhere. As for this matter, it depends on everyone's situation. After all, this is the same as putting your lives in my hands. If you're worried, then forget it. After all, I can't afford to pay a large amount of spirit stones and be suspected. After explaining the situation, Night Sorrow also explained his own intentions. I'm not afraid, huh? Long Xianxing laughed. Wu Lingfei smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. When it came to trust, the person she trusted the most was Night Sorrow. I'm very grateful that you can give me 5 spots in Tianji Tower. Also, it's going to cost a lot of spirit stones. Xiaolanjun looked at Night Sorrow. No one would believe me even if I told them. I made a trip there myself, and a few thousand high-grade spirit stones were gone. I spent a lot of energy traveling through the spatial storms, so I had to enter the pagoda of space-time to recover. When the time comes, the pagoda of space-time will have to withstand the spatial storms. It will require a lot of energy from spirit stones. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. Tianji Tower will pay for this. What do you think, Master K? Xiaolanjun looked at Lin Yuandao. Elder Hua, did you bring spirit stones? Lin Yuandao looked at Hua Haining. Hua Haining was the elder in charge of managing resources in Tianji Tower. I only brought 4,000 high-grade spirit stones with me. Hua Haining took out a spatial ring. How about this? I'll use top-grade spirit stones in exchange. Using top-grade spirit stones isn't worth it. Night Sorrow took out 40 top-grade spirit stones. Don't be like this. We don't feel good about cheating our juniors. You giving 5 spots to Tianji Tower is already very rare. We appreciate it, said Xiaolanjun. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. He put away the spatial ring Hua Haining had given him. Night Sorrow, Aunt Fei has 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. I don't need them right now. Take them. Wu Lingfei also took out 2 spatial belts. Aunt Fei, I really don't need them. Night Sorrow shook his head. Be good. Aunt Fei doesn't need spirit stones for cultivation right now. Besides, if you want to use them, use top-grade spirit stones. Wu Lingfei pulled on Night Sorrow's hand and stuffed the spatial belts into Night Sorrow's hand. Then Senior Xie, Master K, please discuss the arrangements for the spots. We can leave at any time, said Night Sorrow. Xiaolanju nodded and entered the tent with Lin Yuandao and the others. After all, there were still many people in Tianji Tower. The matter of the spots needed to be discussed. A moment later, the results came out. Xiaolanjun, Lin Yuandao, Guoxiao, Hua Haining, and Lu Trinswan. Li Changtian was currently in the eastern Xian region, so he couldn't make it. After making the decision, Night Sorrow brought them into the space-time pagoda and then flew back to where he had entered the Realm Sea last time. After arriving at the edge of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow rested for a moment and then flew into the Realm Sea. With the experience of transmigrating, Night Sorrow had to work very hard this time. It took him a day and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones to reach Supreme Sky City. Arriving at Vast Sky City, Night Sorrow's consumption decreased. After transmigrating, he rested and recovered, and then transmigrated again. After a few times, Night Sorrow arrived at an area without spatial storms. Then, Night Sorrow brought everyone out. Of course, Xueshi was still in the space-time pagoda. Seeing everyone's surprised expressions, Night Sorrow explained the reason for the situation. Then, Night Sorrow brought everyone to the 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield. This 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield isn't harmful to the people of the 9 Regions, but it's a great weapon against outsiders. It's also the last layer of protection for the heaven-sealing Great Hall. After explaining, Night Sorrow brought everyone into the 9 Regions Origin Energy Shield. As everyone approached the heaven-sealing Great Hall, the door opened and a group of people entered. Tianyu followed everyone in. After everyone entered, Night Sorrow looked at the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Senior 9 Regions, are you here? You really brought 20 people. The 9 Regions Origin Energy's voice sounded in Night Sorrow's ears. I still have some people here. I didn't bring them because I didn't dare to hurt you, said Night Sorrow. You have another person's aura on you. Let her go. One more person won't make a difference. The 9 Regions Origin Energy expressed its intention. Night Sorrow hurriedly let Xueshi out and let her go to the heaven-sealing Great Hall. This group of people has good potential. The 9 Regions still have hope. The 9 Regions Origin Energy communicated with Night Sorrow. The last person should be separated from the others. When she comes out, change to another place. I'll directly put her into the space-time pagoda. Night Sorrow said, this is a small matter. I can help you tell you that it can only limit 20 people because the 9 Regions Origin Energy can't be used. It's hard to replenish it. If you continue to use it, it won't be worth it. However, once the 9 Regions world is repaired, there won't be this drawback. You have a supreme attribute world. At that time, the world law's power will be stronger than before the 9 Regions world was destroyed. It will be difficult for the experts of the profound sky world to descend. The 9 Regions Origin Energy communicated with Night Sorrow. Chapter 807. He's not good. This senior knows a lot about him. Over the years, we have often communicated. He has reincarnated a few times, But because the conditions of the Nine Regions world were not good enough, he was unable to break through to the Saint King realm. Therefore, in this life, he persevered until the end of his lifespan and refused to reincarnate. He wanted to persevere for the Nine Regions world until the end. The Nine Regions world source conveyed the news that shocked Knight Sorrow. That's indeed the case. It's better for me to say it than him. Yi Qianhua's figure appeared. When you cultivate the clear heaven scripture that I gave you to a certain extent, you will discover some of the information I left behind. Of course, there's also the possibility of not discovering it. After you left last time, I thought a lot and felt that there are some things I can tell you. The Clear Heaven Saint King looked at Knight Sorrow and said, following the Clear Heaven Saint King's narration, Knight Sorrow learned some unknown secrets. The Yi clan was once a very famous clan in the profound sky world. It was one of the top clans in the South Sky Empire. At that time, the eldest son of the Yi clan even married the princess of the South Sky Empire. However, because the eldest son of the Yi clan was extremely talented, the crown prince of the South Sky Empire felt threatened and set up a trap to frame the Yi clan with the crime of betrayal. Did you know that the Yi clan was the #1 clan in the South Sky Empire? But because of suspicion, the crown prince used despicable methods. He used the eldest son of the eldest son as a threat to cripple the cultivation of the eldest son of the Yi clan and the princess of the South Sky Empire. In the end, he cruelly killed the two of them. The Clear Heaven Saint King sighed. Looking at Knight Sorrow, the Clear Heaven Saint King's face was filled with misery. Do you really want to know why I know so much? It's because I'm the child of the eldest son of the Yi clan and the princess of the South Sky Empire. I'm that child. Knight Sorrow felt very sad in his heart because he felt the pain of the Clear Heaven Saint King, Yi Qianhua. After the war started, some of my clansmen and I were sent to the Nine-Domain world by the patriarch of the Yi clan, who is also my grandfather. I was unwilling to give up. I missed my father and mother, so I decided to take revenge. After that, I experienced 3 great massacres in the Sky Profound world, and every time, my body would be torn apart. Then, my soul would reincarnate and fight again. After the last great battle, my heart was tired because I could not see any hope. Old ancestor, you can reincarnate, Knight Sorrow said anxiously. 10,000 years ago, when the Nine Regions world was destroyed, my heart died, and I gave up on reincarnation. You have done good deed for the Nine Regions, so I naturally have to do something for you. Go and reincarnate. With the protection of the reincarnation force, the spatial storm outside will not be a threat to you. As for the array that needs to be set up outside, you have already set up the array foundation. Later on, when I recover, all you need to do is to pour energy into it. The Nine Regions' origin energy separated a ray of light and entered Yi Qianhua's soul clone. Yi Qianhua stood up and bowed to the Nine Regions' origin energy. Then, a mixed white light appeared on his body, and he disappeared from the heaven-sealing Great Hall. While Knight Sorrow was thinking, a golden light appeared in the sky above the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Moreover, the golden light continued to appear. Knight Sorrow knew that someone had passed the test. Then, more and more people appeared. The first to appear was Yiling Huan. Grandpa, the Sky Slayer title is yours, right? Knight Sorrow asked. He had seen the Sky Slayer title just now. It was the first to appear. The light had also covered the other titles. Yes. Yiling Huan smiled and began to meditate. Then, other people appeared. However, most of the titles were in their own names or their previous code names. Wu Lingfei's title was Golden Phoenix, Yiling Huan's title was Wu Yo, and Yu Qing's title was Qing Fei. While everyone was resting, Knight Sorrow left the front of the heaven-sealing Great Hall and walked to an area where no one was paying attention to. Then he put Xue Shi, who had been sent out by the Nine Regions' origin energy, into the 60th floor of the Space-Time Treasure Pagoda. Then, he returned to the main entrance of the heaven-sealing Great Hall. At this time, everyone came out. Not everyone had obtained a title. Ling Long didn't get one. Lu Trin Swan didn't get one. Neither did the Sikong Heavenly Cauldron. The three of them had failed the test. The three of them were very sad because this opportunity had not come easily. However, the three of them had wasted it. No one could do anything about this. The Heaven-Sealing Great Halls test had different levels of difficulty depending on the level of the examinee. The standard for a half-saint was the standard for a half-saint. If you weren't at the top of this level, you wouldn't get a title. Don't worry, this is nothing. Just come back after cultivating for a while, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Captain, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I've embarrassed our god-slaying squad, Ling Long said in a low voice. Chapter 808. Then everyone sat down to cultivate and stabilize their cultivation bases. Obtaining a title was equivalent to obtaining some of the 9 regions' karmic luck, as well as some energy to refine. Don't bring anyone here for 3 years. Every 3 years, 5 people can come. However, those who participate once can't come again for 20 years. In 2 months, the 1,000 derivation killing formation and 1,000 derivation illusory formation will appear. Aside from you, who has the Clear Sky Sacred King's formation diagram, no one else can enter. The 9 regions' origin energies voice rang out in Knight Sorrow's mind. Chapter 9a Section J T0 4 hours later, everyone who had been meditating stood up. No one celebrated. The 9 domains world was already in such a state, so there was nothing to celebrate. Moreover, there were still 3 people who had not passed the examination, so celebrating would make them feel uncomfortable. Then if there's nothing else, we can go back, said Knight Sorrow. Then they entered the space-time tower. Knight Sorrow had to go through the spatial storms of the Realm Sea and return to the island. Once they were on the island, Knight Sorrow let them out. Knight Sorrow, thank you. Xiaolan Jun cupped her hands toward Knight Sorrow. That's nothing. There's still some things. This time, because there was a limit to the number of people, I didn't bring some. Senior Xia, please help me explain. I'm especially sorry about martial uncles, Yishang said to Xiaolan Jun. I will tell them about it, Xiaolan Jun said. Tell Uncle Master that I'll bring her in 3 years, said Knight Sorrow. The Uncle Master of the Eastern Xian region was supporting him, adding on the fact that the Medicine Valley's resources were expanding into the North Sea. Knight Sorrow felt like he had to help the Uncle Master. What about in 3 years? Asked Lin Yuandao. There were many sovereigns in the Tianjin Tower, so he naturally paid attention to it. Yes, but don't worry about the spots. There are only 5 people. This time, I didn't even bring my master. Next time, my 3 fiancés will enter. Knight Sorrow directly refused. He needed the spots himself. It was already good enough that he could give one to his Uncle Master. You've already helped the Tianjin Tower a lot. I shouldn't have such thoughts, said Lin Yuandao apologetically. He knew his request wasn't appropriate. If he had known there were only 5 spots, he wouldn't have asked. Sir Tower Lord, I have 3 fiancés. 2 of them are from the extreme Heaven Tower, and so am I, Yishang smiled and said. Then Lin Yuandao and the Tianjin Tower's people laughed. Knight Sorrow was from Tianjin Tower. That was enough. The Tianjin Tower would take the lion's share of the benefits. Knight Sorrow also told everyone not to stay here and not to wait for the spatial storm to dissipate. Even if the spatial storm dissipated, no one would be able to get close to the Heaven-Sealing Hall. The 1,000 development illusory formation and the killing formation were the Clear Sky Saint's consummate skills. Even a saint wouldn't be able to break it if their formation skills weren't good enough. Then the group left the island. Some of them went to the Tianji Tower, while others went to Sky City. Wu Lingfei also followed Knight Sorrow to Sky City. Aunt Fei, there's nothing in the Eastern Xian region. You can stay here with me, said Knight Sorrow. Actually, I didn't tell you. My spiritual avatar is in the Eastern Xian region. If there's anything, I'll take care of it, said Wu Lingfei. After saying that, Wu Lingfei was stunned. She had inadvertently glanced at Knight Sorrow's waist. She saw that the pouch that had been holding Knight Sorrow's spiritual avatar had disappeared. Yishan also looked at his waist. He had no choice but to give up on this matter. There was nothing he could do about it. Where did your spiritual avatar go? Who attacked you? Wu Lingfei's expression turned cold. Killing chi could be felt. It's in the heaven's ceiling hall. Other than Night Moon, there's only you here. There's no one else. I'll tell you what I saw this time. In the future, we'll all need to work together." Night Sorrow sighed. He told her about the 9 regions' origin energy and the clear sky, Saint King's words. He also told her about what had happened before Night Moon. "Ancestor is so pitiful." Night Shunyue wiped the corner of her eyes. The other women also had sparkling tears in their eyes. "I obtained his inheritance. Furthermore, as a descendant of the Night Clan, if there's a chance, I'll get justice for my ancestor." "I'll get justice for my ancestor in Night Moon," said Night Sorrow. "This isn't your responsibility alone. It's the responsibility of the entire Night Clan. It's the responsibility of the Night Moon Dynasty. We'll remember the Heavenly South Dynasty. Our Night Moon Dynasty will rise again," said Yi Linghuan to Night Sorrow. "We can't rush this matter. No matter what, we have to stabilize the 9 regions world first. With a stable backer, we can fight however we want. Using our 9 regions worlds Saint Crystals as materials is a great humiliation to us," said Wu Lingfei. "Grandfather knows the name of the profound mysteries realm. I also know its general location. It should be in the western nether region," said Yi Linghuan after thinking for a moment. "The Clear Sky Saint King said that they've always wanted to attack our 9 regions world. That's one of the reasons why our 9 regions world is unstable. If we can find a spatial channel, we'll kill our way in. We won't give them a chance to attack us," said Night Sorrow. "All right, you don't need to worry about that. Grandfather will go investigate," said Yi Linghuan. "In addition, our family's Night Moon Sea needs to be strengthened. If the profound sky world starts a war with our 9 regions world before I can fix it, then our high-level cultivators will have to retreat," said Night Sorrow to Yi Linghuan. "I'll take care of that. Don't worry, Night Sorrow. There'll be a stable backup for you here," said Night Sorrow. "Tianji Tower was founded by Sage King Shui Dao. I'll have to ask Grand Elder Xia and Lord Lin Ke about the Shui Dao sky. I'll also have to make some arrangements. As for the Jiyu family, although I don't want to resolve it, for the sake of the 9 regions world, it'll be best if it can be resolved," said Night Sorrow. After making some arrangements, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei rushed to Tianji Tower. He had to communicate with Tianji Tower. After all, the 9 regions world was in a difficult situation. It was best to make as many preparations as possible. "The 6th update has arrived. Please be more tolerant. Do not directly open your mouth to attack." At this moment, in Qingtian City, Jiyu family's mansion, Jiyu Hao kicked a woman out of the room. "Night Sorrow, I'll definitely kill you. Sikong Chuyu is mine." Jiyu Hao roared angrily after kicking the woman out of the room. This has become a sore point for you. You can't go on like this." Jiyu Feng Lan appeared in front of Jiyu Hao's room. "Grandfather, this isn't a sore point. It's a motivation. For this goal, I'll work hard to cultivate. When I become a high-level venerable, I'll kill him," said Jiyu Hao through gritted teeth. Chapter 809. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei entered the secret tower of Tianji Tower. The big shots of Tianji Tower were all there, including the Grand Elder. "Grand Elder, I'm sorry." Night Sorrow bowed to the Grand Elder. "Yi Shang, Grand Elder has already spoken to Martial Uncle. You don't have to apologize. Martial Uncle is already very happy that you can still think of him after 3 years," said Grand Elder. Grand Elder can understand. Night Sorrow is very sincere. Night Sorrow nodded. "Sit down and talk. I think you have something to say." Xiaolan Jun pointed at the chair next to Lin Yuandao. "I learned something when I went to the Heaven Ceiling Hall. Tianji Tower was founded by the Sage King of the Void Dao. Do Grand Elder and Lord K know about the Void Dao sky?" Night Sorrow asked Xiaolan Jun and Lin Yuandao. "You know about the Void Dao sky?" Lin Yuandao looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. It seems that Lord Kane knows about it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so surprised. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Yuandao's expression and knew the answer. "The people here are the core of Tianji Tower. Lord K, please tell us." Xiaolan Jun nodded to Lin Yuandao. Lin Yuandao looked at them and said, "The Void Dao sky is Tianji Tower's biggest secret. Only the K-Lords are qualified to know about it. It's a small world. It's the place where Tianji Tower retreats at the most critical moment. In other words, as long as the Void Dao Sky exists, Tianji Tower will not be destroyed. We have to speed up the construction. That way, even if the 9 zones suffer a disaster, Tianji Tower will still have a place to stand, said Night Sorrow. I'll take care of that. Yishang, don't be too stressed. Also, you can make decisions about the Empyrean Terminus Tower. There are some things you could decide. If you want to fight, the Empyrean Terminus Tower will be your shield, said Xiaolanjun. We want to fight. Night Sorrow then said that he wanted to declare war on the Profound Mysteries realm, and that Yi Linghuan had gone to investigate. All right, Xiaolanjun said. We can fight whenever we want. Right now, the realm of Eastern Xian, the realm of Northern Sea, the realm of unbounded desolation, the realm of grand clarity, and the realm of Southern Li are all under our control. The realm of Sanyuan and the realm of Taiyue don't have much battle prowess. The Qingtian domain is currently the problem with Jiyu's clan. Lord K-Lord, can you help me arrange a meeting with them? I'll go talk to them. If it can be resolved, I'm willing to do so. In the face of the greater good, personal grudges are nothing. I'm willing to take a step back, said Night Sorrow. All right, I'll go arrange it now. Wait for the news. Lin Yuandao stood up and left the secret tower. Night Sorrow, you've done well. You've looked at the big picture. Others will only admire your magnanimity. A benevolent person must have a heart of forgiveness. Xiaolanjun looked at Night Sorrow with admiration. An hour later, Lin Yuandao returned. He told everyone that Jiyu Fenglan and the elders of Jiyu's clan were waiting at Tianji Tower's Qingtian City branch. I won't be going. K-Lord, Wu K-Lord, and Taishu K-Lord accompany Night Sorrow. It's necessary to resolve the conflict, but we can't wrong Night Sorrow, said Xiaolanjun to Lin Yuandao, Wu Lingfei, and Taishu Quebec. Then, under Lin Yuandao's lead, the 4 of them arrived at Tianji Tower's Qingtian City branch. In the lobby of Tianji Tower's branch, Jiyu Fenglan sat in the middle on the left. There were several people standing behind him, including Jiyu Hao. After Yishang and the other 3 entered, they also sat down across from the others. Lin Yuandao, I want to know something. Is Tianji Tower involved in this matter? Jiyu Fenglan looked at Lin Yuandao. Tianji Tower is the middleman this time, said Lin Yuandao. Since Tianji Tower is the middleman, then it's easy to talk about it. Night Sorrow, what do you mean? Jiyu Fenglan's eyes were filled with hostility as he looked at Wu Lingfei, then at Night Sorrow. The 9 regions are unstable right now. It's best if we can turn hostility into friendship. After all, the civil war will consume the strength of the 9 regions, said Night Sorrow. If you want to resolve it, then hand over Sikong Chuyu. You must hand him over. Jiyu Hao pointed at Night Sorrow and roared. Pa! One of Night Sorrow's armrests shattered. Suppressing his anger, Night Sorrow looked at Jiyu Fenglan. Patriarch Jiyu, is this your Jiyu clan's intention? This is my young master's sore point. If you want to resolve it, then it's best to resolve it. Jiyu Fenglan supported Jiyu Hao's point of view. From today onwards, I, Night Sorrow, and your Jiyu clan will not rest until one of us is dead. Take this. Night Sorrow stood up, his robe fluttering in the wind. He was extremely angry. Just one woman? Jiyu clan can give you 10 outstanding women. Jiyu Fenglan looked at Night Sorrow and said, Scram. Night Sorrow waved his hand and smashed the tea table in front of him into pieces. Jiyu Fenglan, Night Sorrow wants to resolve the conflict, but you're digging your own grave. Wu Lingfei was also angry because Jiyu clan had no bottom line. Let's see what you're going to say. Haha, is that so? I know that with your help, the Yue clan killed the 7-star saint. But let me tell you, because of the influence of the overall situation of the 9 regions, the golden light that filled the sky attracted the attention of our Jiyu clan's great ancestor. Now, the great ancestor of the Jiyu clan has returned from the Central State Prefecture. If you want to fight, then attack and try. Jiyu Fenglan laughed loudly and left the Heaven's Terminus Tower with his men. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and exhaled, calming himself down. Negotiating with trash? I'm asking for humiliation. Let's fight. Later, I'll ask our spies in Jiyu clan and see what cultivation base their ancestor has. Lin Yuandao said with a cold face. The young master of Tianji Tower had lowered himself to negotiate with Jiyu clan. Lin Yuandao couldn't accept such humiliation. After Lin Yuandao left, Knight's sorrow still hadn't calmed down. He knew that being impulsive wouldn't solve the problem. In addition, his impulsiveness would involve a lot of things, such as the Night Moon dynasty behind him, Tianji Tower, Eastern Profound region, and so on. Night Sorrow, wait for the news. If we can't deal with that guy, then I'll ask Long Xiansheng to come out. After all, he owes you a favor. Wu Lingfei could understand the anger in Night Sorrow's heart. If Xueshi can't deal with the opponent's saint, then I'll pay the price to ask Long Xiansheng to come out. I'll definitely vent my anger. Night Sorrow nodded. Then Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei returned to the city in the sky. However, he went directly to the lake to cultivate and didn't tell anyone about it. Night Sorrow casually ate 2 mouthfuls of dinner and went to the secret cultivation room. What's wrong? He's not in a good mood. Sikong Chiyu looked in the direction of Night Sorrow's secret cultivation room and said. Wu Lingfei looked at the girls, nodded to Yu Qing, and went to her own pavilion. He's been wronged. I'll see how it goes later. Wu Lingfei knew that Jiyu clan had really angered Night Sorrow this time. Otherwise, Night Sorrow wouldn't have asked for Long Xuanqing's help. Chapter 810. 6 days later, Lin Yuandao came to the city in the sky to see Night Sorrow. At the same time, he told Night Sorrow that he didn't know the name of the old ancestor of the Jiyu family. He claimed to be King Ji, who had become famous earlier than Xie Lanjun. He was very likely to be a high-level saint. Thank you, Master Quebec. I understand. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Lin Yuandao. How do you plan to fight? Tianji Tower will fully cooperate with you. Lin Yuandao expressed his stance. The Empyrean Peak Tower would not tolerate bullying the young master of the Empyrean Peak Tower. I'll think about it first. If there's a need, I'll inform Master K, Night Sorrow said. Lin Yuandao left. Night Sorrow sat on the wooden boat and took out a jar of wine. At the same time, he transferred Xueshi out of the space-time pagoda. At this time, Wu Lingfei and Yu Qing came. They knew that Lin Yuandao had come. The appearance of a saint brought a strong sense of opportunity. Night Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and Yu Qing. He looked at Xueshi and asked, How much do you know about King Ji? Not much different from my peak. I've seen him once. At that time, we were both peak venerables. Then, 200 years later, I became a saint. After becoming a saint, my cultivation speed has been maintained at high speed. There's no reason for him to cultivate faster than me, Xueshi said. Night Sorrow lowered his head and thought about what to do next. He wouldn't take this lying down. Night Sorrow, I'll go and see what that guy's cultivation level is. After I find out, you can make a decision. After saying that, Xueshi flashed and left the lake. If the other party is strong, she will be in danger. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said, No, she has cultivated the wind essence body and can use the wind essence escape. It's almost impossible to hurt or kill her, Night Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew what was going on with Xueshi, as well as her talent. Yu Qing asked Night Sorrow what had happened. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and then told Yu Qing, You've gone too far. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yu Qing's face turned pale with anger. Mother, don't worry. If this Ji Wangsheng is strong, I'll go talk to Long Xiansheng and ask him to step forward. If not, I'll just wait. Xueshi's strength is rising quickly as well. Night Sorrow said. Yu Qing nodded her head. She knew that they were currently competing with the best of their strength. Night Moon did not have any high-level saints, which was his weakness. For days later, Xueshi returned. She had investigated thoroughly and found that King Saint Ji was a 7-star saint. His cultivation was comparable to hers back then. A 7-star saint is not a big problem. He can even fight against Supreme Elder Xie. Defeating him is not a problem. The key is whether or not he can be killed, Wu Lingfei said. Cool Unique and NK he all D is T Pirated Zo and Night Sorrow, I'm sorry. I'm not his opponent now. My cultivation can't be raised in a short time. She said apologetically. Don't worry. Go back and rest first. Night Sorrow sent she back into the Time Pagoda. At this time, Lin Yuan Dao and Xiaolan Jun had also arrived at Sky City and the lake. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do? I can fight. This is too much. Xiaolan Jun expressed her attitude. Xiaolan Jun had always been committed to the peace of the 9 regions, and she had done so over the years. Yishang was magnanimous enough to resolve the grudges, and she was very gratified. She was the first to find out that Yishang had been humiliated. I plan to see Long Xuanqing's opinion. If I do, I'll kill him, Night Sorrow said. Xiaolan Jun nodded because she was not confident in killing King Saint Ji. After that, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei left Sky City and went directly to Eastern Xian region. When the two of them arrived at the Eastern Ice Field, Long Xuanqing appeared in front of the two of them. Is there a problem? Long Xuanqing looked at Wu Lingfei and Night Sorrow and asked. Wu Lingfei was the region lord of Eastern Xian region, and Night Sorrow was the most outstanding youth in Eastern Xian region. Both of them were highly valued by Long Xuanqing. Now that both of them were here, Long Xuanqing naturally knew that there was a problem. Senior, I would like to ask you to kill someone for me. I can accept the price. Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about the price. As long as you don't lose out, and as long as the other party deserves to die, I'll do it, Long Xuanqing said. Before Night Sorrow said anything, Wu Lingfei said the reason. To think that they would dare to bully the people of the Eastern Profound region. How interesting. This seat is willing to take action. Long Xuanqing spoke and explained the reason. Night Sorrow had a taboo title, and naturally, he had the luck of the 9 regions. Helping Night Sorrow would only bring him benefits. Long Xuanqing did not agree at first, because he was worried that Night Sorrow would lose out. He could not help Night Sorrow and hurt his own virtue. But now that he knew that Night Sorrow was not wrong, he was naturally willing to help. Long Xuanqing then told Night Sorrow that he did not need to worry about King Saint Ji. After 7 days, Night Sorrow could lead people to attack Ji Yu's family. Night Sorrow took out 3 Saint Spirit Stones and said, I can't let Senior work for nothing. Please accept this small gift. You little brat, you really think highly of me. But I don't need it now. You should keep it. Long Xuanqing's body flashed, and he disappeared in the direction of Eastern Xian City. Night Sorrow, you can rest assured. Western Nether Region's heavenly underworld saint is very powerful. He's a peak saint, but he was still suppressed by Long Xuanqing. King Saint Ji is only a 7-star saint, so he can die, Wu Lingfei said. In that case, I'll go back and prepare for the attack. Night Sorrow wanted nothing more than to kill Ji Yuhao immediately. Ji Yuhao had been nurtured by Ji Yu's family, and his strength had risen at a terrifying speed. He was already a 6th level venerable. But Night Sorrow was not afraid. He had even defeated 7th level venerables in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. To others, Ji Yuhao's 6th level venerable was very terrifying. Even 7th level venerables, or even 8th level venerables, would not be willing to face him because their attributes would be suppressed and they would not be able to fight. However, the situation was different for Yishang. Ji Yuhao was a level 6 venerables, but he was only slightly stronger than an ordinary level 6 venerables. Ji Yuhao's element advantage was useless against Yishang. On the contrary, Ji Yuhao's element advantage was suppressed by Yishang. Anifei will also mobilize some people. Ji Yuhao was arrogant that day because he thought the force behind him was stronger than you. You're not weaker than him. You have Anifei, Eastern Xian region, Tianji Tower, and Night Moon Dynasty. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow, then pulled Night Sorrow and flew towards Eastern Xian City. In Sky City, Yu Qing, who knew about Night Sorrow's humiliation, informed her husband. Yi Weiyou was furious when he heard about it. Yi Linghuan was not there, so Yi Weiyou contacted the emperors and told them about his intention to fight. Chapter 811. Thank you, uncles, for your support of Weiyou. Night Sorrow has suffered too much. As his father, I can't bear to let him bear it alone. It's our family that has dragged Night Moon down. Yi Wuyo pulled Yu Qing and bowed to the four emperors. Wuyo, if you choose to bear with it, then Grandpa will be disappointed. Perhaps that's the overall situation, but you've lost the backbone of the Night Moon people. So what if you know you're no match for them? We Night Moon people dare to fight the world. Yi Shunxian, the previous leader of the Night Moon, said, "Where's Night Sorrow? He's gone again. Why didn't he tell the family about such an important matter? The family can make the decision for him." Yi Xinhua looked at Yu Qing and said, "He went to the Eastern Xian domain with Lord Wu Kei to ask for Long Xuanqing's opinion. Tianji Tower supports him." Yu Qing said, "With the support of the Extreme Heaven Tower, that goes without saying. That blue-robed, everlasting saint has no problem suppressing a 7-star saint." Yi Shenquang said, "Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei arrived at the Empyrean Tower and saw Xie Lanjun and Lin Yuandao there. The other giants were nowhere to be seen. The Tianji Tower's men are ready. This time, they've joined forces with the Xikong clan and several Qingtian domain families. After the war starts, we'll wipe out Ji Yu's family from the Qingtian domain." Lin Yuandao said. Lin Yuandao had discussed with Xie Lanjun and a few others and decided to support the Xikong clan of Bailing City to take over the Qingtian domain. Therefore, they made some arrangements. Senior Long Xiansheng has decided to help me. He'll deal with Ji Wangsheng. We'll start the war in 7 days. Night Sorrow said, "The men of Dongxian City and Tianji Tower of the Eastern Xian domain will gather in Taiwa domain in a day." Wu Lingfei revealed her deployment. "The Night Moon Empire is not good at the saint level. Apart from that, it is the best in the 9 zones and all other aspects. That way, there's no need to mobilize more people. That would be making a mountain out of a molehill." Xie Lanjun said, after deciding that the battle would begin in 7 days, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei returned to Sky City together. After entering the mansion, Night Sorrow was met with Night God Thunder's furious roar. This was because there was something Night Sorrow hadn't told his family. "Shang, you are the young master of Night Moon. You can give up everything for the family, and the family can also be your most solid support. Even if the family is destroyed, you will not hesitate. This is the tradition of Night Moon. In the future, if you have any problems, just tell the family. This time, I'll have to trouble Master Wu Kei again." Yi Shenxian stood up and said a few words to Night Sorrow, then cupped his hands towards Wu Lingfei. "You are too polite, Emperor Shenxian. Night Sorrow is my family," Wu Lingfei said. "You are back. That means you have a plan. Tell everyone." Yi Wuyo asked Night Sorrow to sit beside him. Then, Night Sorrow explained the current situation. "You solved it yourself again. The family has become a decoration again," Night God Thunder muttered. "No, we still need Night Moon to fight. We won't give them a chance to breathe. We will directly wipe out Jiyu's family from the 9 Zones world." Night Sorrow's hatred grew. He had kindly asked for reconciliation, but he had been humiliated. How could he not hate and be angry? "Haha, Shang, you took us to the Heaven Sealing Palace and used up a lot of spirit stones. This time, I will get them back for you," Night God Moon said with a smile. Night God Moon had never married. Night Moon's children were her children. After seeing Night Sorrow, she especially liked him. "Thank you, Great Aunt." A smile appeared on Night Sorrow's face. He felt very warm in his heart. No matter how dangerous the situation was, the family was standing behind him. After chatting for a while, Night Moon's emperors went to work. Yi Wuyo also left to gather people. Then, Yu Qing told Night Sorrow that even though the situation was not good, Night Moon's emperors had decided to support him to the end. She wanted Night Sorrow to believe in the family. The Yi family was the most united family. "Mother, it's all my fault. I brought trouble to Night Sorrow and the family." Xikong Chiyu, who had been standing beside Yang Lei and Aoi, wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and said, "How is it your fault? It's because you were too outstanding that they wanted to take advantage of you. Don't worry, no one will dare to do that in the future." Yu Qing held Xikong Chiyu's hand and said, "Thank you, Mother." Xikong Chiyu nodded. Then, everyone chatted and drank tea. With Long Xuanqing's help, The direction of the war was basically set. There was nothing for them to worry about. Chuyu, 9th senior sister, 6th senior sister, when you improve your cultivation base, pay attention to your actual combat power and the improvement of your soul power. 3 years later, I will bring all of you to the heaven-conferring palace to take the test for the title. Night Sorrow said while drinking tea. Great. If there's a chance, we must seize it. Yang Lei said excitedly. She and Sikong Chuyu were both at the peak of the 8th Void Inquiry stage. But I can't. It's still too early for me. Oh, I was anxious. Don't worry. It's still 3 years. 6th senior sister can do it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. H+8 after that. Sikong Chuyu told him that Ling Long was a little depressed because she did not get the title for the past few days. Night Sorrow thought for a while and went to the martial arts arena. In the arena, everyone was cultivating. The one who worked the hardest and was almost in a state of madness was Ling Long. Gather. Night Sorrow shouted. As soon as Night Sorrow's voice fell, the members of the god-slaying squad quickly gathered together. Ling Long, come out. Night Sorrow called out to Ling Long. I'm sorry. I've disappointed the leader. I've embarrassed the god-slaying squad. Ling Long, who took 2 steps forward, said, The current you is the one who has disappointed me. What's wrong with failing once? If you know where you're lacking, just cultivate it. It's not difficult to defeat the enemy. What's difficult is to defeat yourself. Your current situation shows that your mental state isn't up to standard. Night Sorrow looked at Ling Long and said, Ling Long will continue to work hard. Ling Long bowed slightly to Night Sorrow. There will be battles in the next few days. Can you still participate in them? Night Sorrow looked at Ling Long, of course. What kind of battle will it be? Who will I be fighting? Ling Long's eyes lit up. She felt stifled and wanted a vent. I've been humiliated, so I've decided to fight back. I need my brothers and sisters to fight alongside me. Does anyone have any questions? Night Sorrow glanced at Ling Long and then called out to the rest of the god-slaying squad. The response to Night Sorrow was the sound of armor being knocked and cheered. Then everyone should prepare for battle. Also, I can see that you've all been cultivating impatiently. Your mental state isn't right. 9th senior apprentice sister, Chiu, have everyone practice sculpting over the next few days to adjust your mental state. Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu. After Night Sorrow left, the members of the god-slaying team took out their own carving tools. Something has been wrong these past few days. Everyone was provoked by Yun Huang and Liang Yu's titles. Now that we heard the leader's words, we understood, said Ho Jian. Chapter 8:12. It doesn't matter who it is. What's important is that he must die. We have to fight back. The person who insulted Captain is dead, said Yun Huang. When he heard that Night Sorrow had been insulted, Yun Huang was furious. His brother being insulted was no different from him being insulted. Let's just get ready to fight. Xueling waved his sword. Cue over you. I think we should all focus on carving. You've already lost the calmness you should have, said Yang Lei. Night Sorrow and Xue, she were cultivating by the lake. Night Sorrow wasn't far from the 5th-star Venerable Realm, while Xue, she was also trying to break through to the 5th-star Venerable Realm. Their cultivations had improved very quickly, but they didn't suffer from the drawbacks of having an unstable foundation. Besides tempering themselves in actual combat, their cultivations had been tempered and stabilized in the spatial storms of the realm ocean, so their foundations were extremely solid. All this time, my goal in life has been to suppress some people and have more authority in the 9 realms. But after meeting you, I realized that my previous thoughts were too shallow and childish. There are too many wonderful things waiting for us, said Xue Shi as she looked at Night Sorrow, who had finished his meditation and stood up. Yes, after dealing with the Qingtian realm, only the Western Nether realm is left. We can't follow the 9 realms' footsteps. But this matter can't be rushed, said Night Sorrow. After entering Supreme Sky City and learning some things, Night Sorrow had a big dream in his heart. He wanted to take revenge, but because of his strength, he couldn't realize it. First of all, if he wanted to unify the 9 realms, he needed prestige and deterrence. And if he wanted prestige and deterrence, he needed strength. On the 5th day of Night Sorrow's return, Lin Yuandao came with Long Xiansheng. That guy, this king has taken care of him for you. Previously, this king said that he would get you an ancient book, but after sorting it out, it wasn't very suitable. This time, after killing King Ji, I did get something. One of them is a cultivation technique. It's the Central State Scripture, which can be cultivated to the Saint King realm. It's the ancient book of the Central State Saint King. The other one is a soul doppelganger. It's called the 3 Yuan doppelganger. However, if you want to cultivate it, you must be careful and act according to your strength. Cultivating a soul doppelganger is very harmful to your soul. Thank you, Senior Long Xiansheng. You don't need the scripture. You can give me a copy, said Night Sorrow. I don't need it. Our Dragon Turtle clan has a talent cultivation technique. Long Xiansheng shook his head. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow understood that Long Xiansheng really didn't need it. Then, he kept the scripture. You have a good place here. I will not disturb you in the future. Arrange the battle, said Long Xiansheng. After Long Xiansheng left, Night Sorrow informed the current leaders of Night Moon, Yi Wuyo and Yi Shenxian, to gather the troops. In addition, he communicated with Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei. Night Moon would be the main attacker, and the other two groups would kill from the periphery. As for the resources obtained by Night Moon, they will be divided equally with Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region. That's not necessary. It's hard to fight the headquarters. Each side can collect the resources of the cities. Lin Yuandao said, "We are fighting this war to vent our anger. As for the resources, it doesn't matter." Wu Lingfei also expressed her opinion. At this time, no one would care about the resources. One had to know that Night Sorrow had provided a lot of dragon spirit pills to Tianji Tower and Eastern Xian region. If they were to care about the resources with Night Sorrow, it would be unreasonable. Yishang, wait for Ani Fei. Ani Fei will make some arrangements and come back with you. Over there is Jiyu Fenglan, Ani Fei's old enemy. Ani Fei wants to kill him personally. Wu Lingfei said to Yishang, "Then I will wait for Aunt Fei. We will set off when Aunt Fei comes back." Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Wu Lingfei and Jiyu Fenglan had a deep hatred. At this time, in Jiyu family's mansion, Jiyu Fenglan's face was gloomy. How? Take the family's juniors and hide first. The other side is really going to fight. The old ancestor left 2 days ago and hasn't come back. The old ancestor is a high-level saint. Is there anyone who can threaten his safety? Ji Yuhao frowned and asked. The everlasting saint of the celestial terminus tower is slightly stronger than the old ancestor. She can't kill him, but she can entangle the old ancestor. In that case, we won't be able to contend with the other saints. The spies reported that they have gathered their forces and are going to fight to the death with all their might. This is something that grandfather didn't expect, Jiu Fenglan said with a cold face. Night Sorrow, it's that damn Night Sorrow. Ji Yuhao's face was ferocious, and his hatred for Night Sorrow was monstrous. Before Night Sorrow's name appeared, everything was going smoothly for Ji Yuhao. He could be said to be the son of heaven, and he could get whatever he wanted. But everything changed after Night Sorrow appeared. Jiyu family was constantly attacked, and now they even had to hide from Night Sorrow's limelight. Take the younger generation of the family to the Central Province Prefecture, memorize the formation map and the route, then destroy them. Jiyu Fenglan said to Ji Yuhao, "I understand." Ji Yuhao thought for a moment and nodded. He wasn't a brainless person. Also, take Su Mu with you. That kid can be trained. He'll be a good assistant. Ji Fenglan waved his hand at Ji Yuhao. In fact, Ji Fenglan knew that he had really gone too far this time. He shouldn't have supported his grandson's unreasonable request. Asking for someone else's woman was a slap in the face, and it wasn't the right attitude to negotiate. Mainly, he had overestimated Ji Wangxing's strength and influence. Jiyu family's headquarters was in the south of Sky-bearing City. Night Sorrow took Wu Lingfei, Night Moon's 4 emperors, Yi Wuyo and his wife, and the members of the God-slaying team directly to the headquarters of Jiyu family in Sky-bearing City. Start killing, Knight Sorrow shouted. At the same time, he called Xueshi out and told her not to let the key figures of GU family escape, and not to let any of the members of the team die. They directly rushed to the front of GU family's main hall. You really dare to come here. Perhaps our GU family might not be able to fend off your attack, but you might be able to withstand the revenge of our great ancestor. It's only about a woman, and we won't mention it again. You can leave now, and I'll pretend that nothing happened today. Today, let's forget about it. Jiu Fenlong looked at Wu Lingfei and said. He felt that if he showed his attitude, Wu Lingfei and the others would retreat. After all, the deterrence of a high-level saint wasn't fake. Your ancestor's revenge? Jiu Fenlong, I was kind enough to negotiate with you, but you actually dared to have designs on my woman. Since you don't want face, then there's nothing more to say. Let Jiu Hao come out. Today, I want to see how strong a 6th-level time saint is, Knight Sorrow said as he waved his reincarnation spear. Chapter 8:13. What did you say? Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Jiu Fenlong was stunned. If you don't understand, then I'll say it again. Ji Wangsheng died because of your shamelessness, ignorance, and arrogance. You even injured both sides. I won't give your Jiu family the chance to do so. Kill. Yishan waved his reincarnation spear and gave the order to fight. Following Knight Sorrow's order, Knight Sorrow's people charged in all directions like blooming flowers. You deserve to die. Jiu Fenlong waved his long sword and charged towards Knight Sorrow. You're still acting shamelessly at a time like this? I'm your opponent. Wu Lingfei waved her saint-grade sword and stood in front of Knight Sorrow, then started fighting with Jiu Fenlong. Xueshi, check if Jiu Hao is in Jiu family's mansion. If he is, catch him for me. Knight Sorrow shouted to Xueshi, who was standing behind him. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing didn't move, mainly because they were worried about their son's safety. Father, Mother, you should go stretch your muscles too. It won't be easy for anyone to kill me, Knight Sorrow said, while watching the battle between Wu Lingfei and Jiu Fenlong. JMOI New Chapter, A section are above and cool. X after hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yi Wuyo joined the battle and started killing Jiu family's cultivators. Yu Qing was still standing beside Knight Sorrow. After a while, Xueshi came back. She shook her head at Knight Sorrow. She didn't find Jiu Hao. You want to destroy my Jiu family? You think too much. My Jiu family is prepared for war. We've already moved the core of our family. Just wait for my grandson, a cultivator of the time attribute, to take revenge. Jiu Fenlong's cold voice said something that Knight Sorrow didn't expect. He dares to think about my woman. As long as he shows up, I'll definitely kill him. If he doesn't, then he can only live like a dog. Knight Sorrow said coldly. All along, Knight Sorrow felt that he was in a good mood. But this time, he couldn't stay calm. Jiu family's young ones were shameless, and the old ones were not virtuous. Therefore, he wanted to kill them all. After a while, the 4 emperors of Night, Moon's dynasty came back. They went back and forth in and out of Jiu family's mansion. The members of the God-slaying squad also appeared, carrying some boxes. They had trained themselves to the point of perfection when it came to robbing. Xueshi, be careful. Don't let him escape. Yishang reminded Xueshi when he saw Wu Lingfei suppressing Jiu Fenlong. Xueshi's swords, Xueshi said. Xue. Jiu Fenlong's element was very strong. It was the power of space, while Wu Lingfei's was the life element. There was no suppression between the two. In terms of cultivation, Jiu Fenlong had just entered the saint realm and was a 1-star saint. Wu Lingfei was already a 2-star saint. They were not on the same level at all. As for fighting skills, Wu Lingfei used to be an invincible venerable, and her speed was extremely fast. In addition, she also had the mutated frozen space, which was a combination of life and ice attributes. It was extremely powerful and had completely restricted Jiu Fenlong. If Jiu Fenlong didn't have the power of space, which allowed him to break the frozen space, he would have been killed long ago. After a quarter of an hour, Ji Yufonlan had consumed too much energy. His body was continuously hit by Wu Lingfei's sword. He wanted to run, but Wu Lingfei's frozen space was the bane of his speed. Wu Lingfei had the advantage in terms of cultivation base, fighting skills, and mid-grade saint weapon. Therefore, Ji Yufonlan was no match for her at all. After holding on for a short while, Wu Lingfei's sword qi penetrated his chest, and even the dragon bones on his back were broken. Ji Yufonlan, who had fallen to the ground, glared at Yi Shang with eyes full of anger. Xueshi sighed. She had originally wanted to help Ji Yufonlan, but she hadn't expected such an outcome. Save me. Hearing Xueshi sigh, Ji Yufonlan raised his head. He recognized Xueshi from her voice. I gave you the path to become a saint, but you cut off your own path. You shouldn't have gone against Night Sorrow, and you shouldn't have insulted Night Sorrow. I came this time to kill you, but there's no need for me to do anything, said Xueshi. Why is that? Ji Yufonlan didn't understand. There aren't so many whys in the world. Since you cut off your own path, I had no choice. Xueshi turned around, no longer looking at Ji Yufonlan. You invaded my eastern Xian region twice, and now you're insulting my Golden Phoenix family. You're the one who walked into a dead end. Who can you blame? Wu Lingfei's hand trembled, and a beam of sword qi streaked across Ji Yufonlan's head, shattering his spirit sea. Wu Lingfei's arm trembled, and she took Ji Yufonlan's spatial ring and saint crystals. She then threw them to Night Sorrow. She had come to help, so she naturally wouldn't accept spoils of war or resources. Night Sorrow also bent down and took Ji Yufonlan's sword. It was a spatial spirit artifact. The battle had ended, but Night Sorrow wasn't satisfied. He hadn't killed Ji Yuhao. He knew that Ji Yuhao would always be a scourge. However, with the destruction of Ji Yu's family, Ji Yuhao's threat had become smaller and smaller. The members of the God-slaying squad sent all the resources to Night Sorrow. Take a third of the God-slaying squad and leave the rest to the Divine Moon Emperor, said Night Sorrow to Nan Liyue. Yes. Nan Liyue and the two vice-captains of the God-slaying squad nodded. Night Xinhua wanted to say something, but Yixin Xian stopped her. 2 hours later, Tianji Tower and the Sikong family's people arrived at Ji Yu's family mansion. At this time, the Ji Yu family's forces in the Qingtian region had been wiped out. Father-in-law, you can take over the Ji Yu family's headquarters. However, you have to be careful. Although the older generation of the Ji Yu family has been killed, there are still some survivors, especially a 6th-rank venerable with the time attribute. If he appears, inform me, said Night Sorrow to Sikong Tianding. Don't worry. The Qingtian region will put out a bounty for the survivors of the Ji Yu family. As long as they appear, they will be killed, said Sikong Tianding. The battle strength of a time venerable is astonishing. It's best to arrange for experts to guard this place, said Night Sorrow to the Sikong family once again before returning to Sky City with his people. After arriving at Sky City, Night Sorrow handed the space attribute Saint Crystal and the space attribute mid-grade spirit artifact to Yi Wuyo. As for what Yi Wuyo would do with it, Night Sorrow didn't care. Sitting on a chair in the mansion, Night Sorrow knocked on the table and pondered. He was thinking about the Ji Yu family. What else do you not understand? Xiaolan Jun and Lin Yuandao entered Night Sorrow's mansion. Where's the Central Province Prefecture? I think it's where the survivors of the Ji Yu family are hiding. I must kill Ji Yuhao. As for the Central Province Prefecture, it must be under my control. It's related to where we can retreat in the future war, said Night Sorrow. That's the absolute core secret of the Ji Yu family. It's not something ordinary members can know. It's just like how important Night Moon Sea is to the Night Moon Dynasty, and how important the Su Dao Sky is to Tianji Tower, said Xiaolanjun. If we don't solve this problem, it will always be a hidden danger, said Night Sorrow. Chapter 814. Tianji Tower will investigate this matter, said Lin Yuandao. Ziku Fa looking at Night Sorrow. Lin Yuandao felt that Night Sorrow had changed. Night Sorrow now had the aura of a leader, and he was decisive in killing. His aura had already been formed. After chatting for a while, Tianji Tower's people left. Night Moon Dynasty's people also returned to Night Moon City. Eldest brother, we shouldn't have taken the resources this time. Why didn't you let me speak? Said Yishan Yue when they arrived at the main hall of the unfalling Night Moon City. Haven't you noticed? Shang, Er's king aura is becoming denser and denser. He already has the aura of a leader. What we need to do now is support him and let him become a true king. His words are just orders, said Yishan Xian. That's true. He's changed a bit from when we first met him. Yishan Yue nodded. Although he's young, he can already influence the majority of the 9 regions. This is something no one else can do. Even the leader of a faction can't do this, said Yishan Xian. The constant battles had allowed Knight Soro's strength to increase. His aura had also begun to form. Xiaolan Jun had also told Lin Yuandao about this matter in the secret tower of the Empyrean Terminus Tower. They couldn't hurt Yishang's momentum. Whatever decision Yishang made, the Empyrean Terminus Tower would fully support it. Knight Saro and Wu Lingfei were drinking tea on a wooden boat by the lake. Aunt Fei, thank you for this, said Knight Saro as he poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei. No need to be so courteous. You're from the Eastern Xian region. Although you didn't say it explicitly, you're no different from the Vice City Lord or Vice Region Lord. Whatever you do, the Eastern Xian region will stand behind you. Right or wrong, said Wu Lingfei to Knight Saro. Knight Saro nodded. He knew that this was Wu Lingfei's support for him, right or wrong. Right now, in a 9 domains world, only the Western Nether region is unstable. They're not on the same side as everyone else, but there's nothing we can do about it, Knight Saro said. That's not a problem. Long Xiansheng has made a request. If there's a war involving the 9 regions, Heavenly Underworld Saint has agreed to participate. Wu Lingfei said. Knight Saro nodded. He knew that he had to increase his strength. He didn't know when a world war would break out. Ani Fei, I can no longer use my soul avatar. I plan to continue cultivating my soul avatar. Long Xiansheng gave me an ancient book on the 3 Yuan avatars. In other words, I can cultivate 3 soul avatars. I can still cultivate 1 more. Knight Saro spoke his thoughts. Can your spiritual strength handle it? Asked Wu Lingfei worriedly. My soul is in a perfect state. The effects from last time have already been repaired, Knight Saro said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She felt that if there were no drawbacks, he could cultivate it. She could help protect Knight Saro. After talking with Wu Lingfei, Knight Saro picked the largest Void Dao stone and began to pour his spiritual strength into it. According to the 3 Yuan Avatar's foundation, he used the secret technique Wu Lingfei had taught him to cultivate the latter half. Wu Lingfei controlled the power of the law of life to envelop the entire wooden boat. The pain of splitting one's soul was unbearable. However, Knight Saro had experienced it once before, so he could endure it. After pouring half of his spiritual strength into the Void Dao stone, Knight Saro connected with the Void Dao stone's energy and began to condense his soul avatar. In the evening, Sikong Chiyu and the others saw that Knight Saro hadn't returned, so they went to find him. Seeing the situation, they understood. Wu Lingfei assisted Knight Saro's cultivation while telling the 3 women that Knight Saro was fine. He just needed more time. After half a day, Knight Saro's soul avatar formed once more. Under the Void Dao stone's energy, it began to naturally condense. The pale Knight Saro stood up and smiled at Wu Lingfei. Success, but I don't know how long it'll take. You're incomparably weak right now. You should hurry up and recover. Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Saro's pale face and said, Aunt Fei, tell my mother and Chuyu that I'm going into seclusion. This time, it'll be longer. Knight Saro said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that Knight Saro would need some time to recover. Nodding at Wu Lingfei, Knight Saro's body flashed and entered the space-time pagoda. Hurry up and recover. Your body won't be able to take it if you continue like this, Shueshi said. Knight Saro hadn't closed his spiritual strength, so she knew what was going on with Knight Saro. Knight Saro communicated with Shao Kong about his situation. I'll transfer you to another level so that you can recover faster. Shao Kong expressed his opinion. Night Sorrow nodded at Xue Shi and then let Shao Kong do it. As time and space changed, Night Sorrow's surroundings changed. The spatial energy was very dense. This is the 70th level. The energy here is about the same as the 60th level. It's just that there's more spatial energy. However, the spiritual strength here is also very dense. The most important thing is that there's time energy here. I can change the flow of time here. In the past, I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to take it. Now you can. What do you mean by changing the flow of time? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. The flow of time here is doubled. 2 days here is 1 day outside. Because of the time energy here, it can only be done to this extent. After you become a saint, you can enter above the 70th level. At that time, the change in the flow of time will be even stronger. It's really heaven-defying. Then I'll start cultivating. My spiritual strength has been greatly damaged. It's very uncomfortable. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he took out the spiritual jade stool and began to meditate. Shao Kong controlled the space-time pagoda to send energy to Night Sorrow to repair his soul. Night Sorrow began to cultivate day and night as he absorbed the energy to improve and replenish his spiritual strength. Yi Wuyo gave the spatial saint crystal to his family, but the emperors let him use it so that he could enter the saint realm as soon as possible. The spatial spirit artifact was also assigned to him. In fact, everyone knew that it was given to Yi Wuyo by Night Sorrow. The members of the god-slaying team were also working hard to cultivate. Yu Qing was also in seclusion. She had the mutated source stone and dragon spirit pill that Night Sorrow had given her. These were all treasures that could quickly improve her strength. On an island in the realm sea of the Qingtian domain, there was a special space. That was the Central State Prefecture. In the Central State Prefecture, Ji Yuhao roared at the sky. He already knew that the Ji family had been destroyed and that their patriarch and patriarch had been killed. It could be said that he was now the person with the highest power in the Ji family, and also the person with the highest cultivation. After roaring angrily for a while, Ji Yuhao did not reflect on the fact that he had forced Night Sorrow into this matter. Instead, he hated Night Sorrow even more. He planned to kill Night Sorrow when he became a high-level venerable. On this day, Yi Linghuan appeared on the night moon with a cold expression. Seeing his son's ugly expression, Yi Shunxian asked, Linghuan, what's the problem? There's a problem. The profound mysteries realm acted first and has already occupied hundreds of thousands of miles of the western nether domain. Their army is continuously sent over, Yi Linghuan said. Chapter 815. Life is hard to predict. I thought that the 9 regions world would be stable for a while after destroying the Jiyu family. I didn't expect something like this to happen again, frowned Knight Xinxian. What happened while I was away? Yi Linghuan asked in surprise. What happened? Yi Linghuan asked. Knight Shanyue then told him what had happened while Yi Linghuan was gone. Damn it! How dare they insult my young Master Night Moon? Our spies will also go out to investigate. As long as there are any survivors of the Jiyu family, our Night Moon will kill them, said Yi Linghuan angrily. Knight Shunxian told Yi Linghuan that they were already doing that. Now that something so big has happened in the Western Nether region, we need to notify the Tianji Tower. We need to see how we can gather the 9 regions world's forces and stabilize the situation, said Yi Linghuan to his family before leaving Night Moon. Night Sorrow didn't care about what was happening in the outside world. He was doing his best to recover from the damage to his soul caused by cultivating a spiritual avatar. This time, the space-time pagoda was truly heaven-defying. Not only could it help Night Sorrow cultivate his spiritual strength, but it could also provide him with energy to recover his soul. Half a month passed in the outside world. Night Sorrow's soul had once more returned to the brink of perfection. Night Sorrow decided that no matter what happened in the future, he would never cultivate a spiritual avatar again. The feeling of having a flaw in his soul was terrible, and it was very difficult to repair it. You could do it twice, but not thrice. You can't do this again in the future. I feel that if you have any more flaws in your soul, it'll be very difficult to repair it to perfection. That will affect your future accomplishments, reminded Shao Kahn. Knight Sorrow smiled. He really didn't want to do this anymore. In truth, it wasn't something he could do just because he wanted to. A cultivation technique that could cultivate a third spiritual avatar had never appeared in the Nine Regions world. Many cultivators didn't cultivate a spiritual avatar either. First of all, cultivating a spiritual avatar required powerful spiritual strength, a cultivation technique, and the most important thing was a medium. A medium was too difficult to obtain. After spending another 3 days, Knight Sorrow had cultivated his soul power to the Great Circle. Next, he planned to rush his chi cultivation to the 5th class Venerable Realm. During this period of time, Knight Sorrow had not used any resources. His true energy had been steadily advancing, and there was no problem with the solidity and control of it. Using a day's time, Yishan's cultivation had successfully risen to the 5th rank supremacy. With the problem of his soul and true energy resolved, Knight Sorrow returned to the 60th floor of the space-time treasure pagoda. After sizing up Knight Sorrow, she said in surprise, "Not only did you recover, but you also increased your cultivation by 1 level. The effect of your cultivation is very good." "I'm fine. How are you doing?" Knight Sorrow asked Shi. "You're not the only one who has leveled up. I have also recovered 1 level. Right now, my combat power is on par with my prime. However, there is much more room for growth," Shi said smilingly. Knight Sorrow smiled. Shueshi's increase in cultivation was a good thing for him. It would be a great help. After drinking the tea that Shueshi had brewed, Knight Sorrow smiled. "It would be even better if you could help me cultivate my true energy." "Who says I can't? It's just that I haven't tried it before," Shueshi said. After that, the two of them went on the big boat. In reality, the effect of their cultivation exceeded their expectations. As Knight Sorrow's true energy was too overbearing, she could only help nourish it. She could not refine the impurities and yang energy that were taken away and could only discard them. "It's not good for you. It's really useless," Knight Sorrow said. He was not someone who would harm others for his own benefit. This was not what he wanted. "It's nothing. It won't waste much time. When I cultivate my body in the future, I'll help you nourish it." Shueshi did not mind. After that, Shueshi took a bath in the space-time treasure pagoda. Knight Sorrow directly entered the lake and swam for a while before returning to the wooden boat. After washing up, Shueshi also came out of the space-time treasure pagoda, and Knight Sorrow returned to the mansion. "Congratulations, Mother." After entering the mansion, Knight Sorrow saw Yu Qing and cupped his hands towards Yu Qing. That was because Yu Qing was already an 8th level venerable. "Son, you're also a 5th level venerable. Not bad. Cultivating an avatar has a great impact on your soul. You have to recover well," Yu Qing said to Knight Sorrow. "Mother, I've already fully recovered," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "Your condition is not bad. Our family is strong, so we have more ability to protect ourselves." Yu Qing nodded. "It's just that my cultivation is lacking," Yin Yen muttered with a smile. "You're still young. Take it slow," Knight Sorrow said as he rubbed Yin Yen's head. Knight Sorrow then asked about his father's situation. After learning that Yi Wuyo had taken Gu Feng Land's Saint Crystal to break through to the Saint Realm, Knight Sorrow felt relieved. In fact, Yi Wuyo was currently a half-step saint and had the ability and opportunity to enter the Saint Realm. Adding on the Saint Crystal that was compatible with his attribute, there would be no problem for him to enter the Saint Realm. While the family was drinking tea together, Yiling Huan came to Knight Sorrow's mansion. 5th level venerable, not bad. Yiling Huan nodded to Knight Sorrow and sat down. After casually chatting for a while, Yiling Huan told him about the current situation of the war in Western Nether Territory. The large sects and families of Western Nether Territory were being suppressed and forced to retreat. "Isn't there a very strong heavenly underworld saint in Western Nether Territory?" Knight Sorrow asked with a frown. He hadn't expected the war to come so quickly. The other side has 2 peak saints. Heavenly Underworld Saint couldn't hold on and went out to fight twice, but he was beaten back both times. Yiling Huan nodded. Then what's the reaction of Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow asked. Yiling Huan then told Night Sorrow that Tianji Tower's forces had already entered Western Nether Territory and notified Long Xianxing. That's good. That way, we can stabilize the situation. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. The other side had 2 Peak Saints, while the other side also had 2 Peak Saints. They shouldn't be at a disadvantage. It's hard to say, because the other party is really strong. Grandpa got close to the battlefield once, and 3 Saints surrounded Grandpa. Fortunately, Grandpa had the spatial crack, so he wasn't killed, said Yiling Huan. That's too shameless. Night Sorrow was a bit annoyed. Our cool air forever W long time exempt FV look at Z8 small t. After that, Night Sorrow and Yiling Huan teleported to Western Nether Territory. You wanted to know what was going on? The situation wasn't optimistic because Wu Lingfei wasn't in Sky City. In Eastern Cloud City of the Western Nether region, Yishang saw the saints of the 9 regions. Almost all of them were there. Night Sorrow is here. Long Xianxing nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Long Xianxing and seniors. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to everyone present. Then let's fight. Heavenly Underworld Saint, we were opponents in the past. This time, we'll join forces and see how strong those 2 Peak Saints are. Long Xianxing looked at Heavenly Underworld Saint and said, Thank you. Although I don't get along with others and was looked down on by you, Yi Tian, I'm from the 9 regions. I have the courage to fight to the death for the 9 regions, said the white-haired Heavenly Underworld Saint. Chapter 816. Very good. Since you said that, I'll think highly of you. Long Xianxing nodded to Heavenly Underworld Saint. Long Xianxing, do you think you're exaggerating? During the last God-sealing war, my Dark Island was annihilated, and only a handful of outer disciples survived. Don't doubt the bravery of my Western Nether region's people. Heavenly Underworld Saint glared at Long Xianxing. So Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint is the successor of the Dark Island? Asked Night Sorrow. What? You know about the Dark Island? Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. Yes, I owe someone a promise to go to the Dark Island. But because I'm busy and don't know much about the Western Nether region, I haven't fulfilled my promise, said Night Sorrow. Don't talk nonsense. The Dark Island is only recorded in the ancient records. After the God-sealing war, the Dark Island no longer exists. Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow as if he was a swindler. So that's how it is. Then I can't go to the Dark Island and fulfill my promise to the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow didn't care about Heavenly Underworld Saint's gaze. What did you say? Heavenly Underworld Saint reached out to grab Night Sorrow. The spatial energy on Yishang's body slashed, and he dodged a few feet away, causing Heavenly Underworld Saint to grab empty air. What are you doing? Long Xianxing stood in front of Night Sorrow. Tianji Tower, the Eastern Xian region, the Night Moon Dynasty, and the Northern Sea regions, Taishu all unsheathed their weapons. They wouldn't hesitate to fight anyone who dared to touch Night Sorrow. It's a misunderstanding. Put away your weapons. I was just too excited. Heavenly Underworld Saint waved his hand. First you didn't believe him, and now you're saying it's a misunderstanding. Long Xianxing frowned. Why would I attack a child? Asked Heavenly Underworld Saint. Child, he's the junior master of Tianji Tower, the young master of the Night Moon Dynasty. What status does he have in the Eastern Xian region? Long Xianxing looked at Wu Lingfei. Deputy Region Lord, Wu Lingfei said. He can represent the Qing Tian region, Sikong Tianding said. It's the same for the North Sea region. The Grand Elder stood beside Night Sorrow. You don't have to work together to attack me, do you? I was a bit emotional because Dark Spirit Saint is not only the most outstanding sage of the Dark Island, but also my ancestor, Sky Underworld Saint said. Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint, the North Sea domain recognizes Night Sorrow, Grand Elder said. If something happens to Night Sorrow, the realm of unbounded desolation will stand up for him, the Flying Tiger Saint said. I've poked a hornet's nest. Sky Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such a status in the Nine Zones. I've met Senior Dark Spirit Saint and received his legacy. However, I'm not of the dark element or the death element, so I'm not suitable for him. He asked me to find him a successor, and he also hopes that I can go to the Dark Island and pass on his legacy to them, Night Sorrow said. I'm really the successor of the Dark Island. How is my ancestor? Sky Underworld Saint asked excitedly. To be precise, I've seen Senior Dark Spirit Saint twice. He fought against the Saint who attacked the Nine-Domain world back then. Both sides were injured, and only a remnant of his soul was left. The second time I saw Senior Dark Spirit Saint, he helped a young man with the death attribute come back to life. His own soul dissipated, but his soul merged with that young man's soul. It can be considered another form of existence in the Nine-Domain world, Yishan said. Where is that young man? Sky Underworld Saint asked. I'll think about it later. How can you prove that you're the successor of the Dark Island? Night Sorrow asked Sky Underworld Saint. How can I prove it? That's right. If you cultivate the Dark Treasured Book, your right arm will have dark heavenly marks. Although I've cultivated an incomplete book, I still have dark heavenly marks. After speaking, Sky Underworld Saint rolled up his right sleeve and showed it to Yishan. There was a special energy pattern on his arm. Night Sorrow looked at Long Xiansheng, and Long Xiansheng nodded at Night Sorrow. There are two books in the inheritance. One is the Dark Treasure Book, and the other is the Soul Annihilation Slash. Only one person cultivates the Dark Treasured Book, and that person is the successor I found for Senior Dark Spirit Saint. Two people cultivate the Soul Annihilation Slash because it was given to me by Senior Dark Spirit Saint. I can't use it too much. Night Sorrow took out the two books and gave them to Sky Underworld Saint. The complete Dark Treasured Book. Thank you for giving the Dark Island a new lease on life. As for the Soul Annihilation Slash, it was given to you by Senior Dark Spirit Saint. Thank you for returning it to me. I won't interfere with who you want to teach it to. After looking at the Dark Treasured Book, Sky Underworld Saint didn't put on airs because of his status and cultivation base. Instead, he bowed to Night Sorrow. Senior, there's no need for that. This is what I promised Senior Dark Spirit Saint. It's my duty to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow returned the bow. You've done what you should do, so there are some things that I should do. The Eastern Xian region, the Northern Sea region, the Qingtian region, and the others all acknowledge you. I also acknowledge you. If you need anything, just shout. The Western Nether region will do the same, said Sky Underworld Saint. All right, Sky Underworld Saint, let's go. Let's fight first. We'll talk about it when we get back, said Long Xiansheng. After that, Long Xiansheng and Sky Underworld Saint left. Xiaolan Jun followed behind them. The others didn't go because it was useless for them to go. Night Sorrow clasped his fist to Zhenhai Saint, Nanxian Saint, and Flying Tiger Saint. I'm sorry that I didn't bring you seniors to the Tidal Palace last time, but I can still go there. If I'm still alive in 10 years, I'll definitely bring you seniors to the Heaven Sealing Palace. Do you think that we'll be unhappy because of that? We're already so old. Of course, we know what a favor is, Zhenhai Saint said with a smile. But it's good to be able to go to the Heaven Sealing Palace in 10 years. Flying Tiger Saint said with a smile. Indeed, our Nanli region is a special one. He's already been given a title. Night Sorrow, thank you. If you need anything from the Nanli region, we won't hesitate to do it. Nanxian Saint made a promise. He had trained Liang Yu to be the leader of the Nanli region. He was very satisfied that Liang Yu had been given a title. Night Sorrow, I'm a straightforward person. If you give me a chance in 10 years, the demonic beasts in the unbounded desolation will listen to your orders, said Dragon Saint. G.F. Senior Dragon Saint, you're too serious. I'm from the Nine Realms. I'll do whatever I can for the people of the Nine Realms. Night Sorrow said, everyone has their reasons to think highly of you. Not to mention your cultivation talent. Your spirit is amazing. Dragon Saint gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Chapter 817. If Night Sorrow could complete the Nine Regions world, he would become the ruler of the Nine Regions world. However, That would require the acknowledgement of the 9 regions world's origin. But Knight Soro's own aura and connections were also very important. Everyone was waiting anxiously for the results of the battle between Long Xiansheng and Heavenly Underworld Saint. "Just wait," said Southern Heaven Saint. In truth, everyone was still very nervous. That was because this battle between Long Xiansheng and Heavenly Underworld Saint would determine the direction of the war between the two worlds. As for spectating, there was no way for them to do so. The other side also had many powerful saints. If the 9 regions world's saints went over, the war would erupt. 2 days later, Long Xiansheng, Heavenly Underworld Saint, and Xiaolonjun returned to Eastern Cloud City. The 3 of them didn't have good expressions because the battle hadn't been decided yet. Soon after, everyone knew what was going on. The other party had a peak saint called Xian Wenxiu, who had a high-grade saint artifact. Long Xiansheng could only suppress him, but could not kill him. Heavenly Underworld Saint was on par with the other saint, unless both sides were seriously injured. "But we can't kill our way in." "How frustrating," said Heavenly Underworld Saint. "Why can't we kill our way in?" asked Lin Yuandao. The other side said that if we attack their cultivators below the saint realm, they won't fight with us. "Even their high-level saints will enter the 9 regions world," said Heavenly Underworld Saint. Because of this, he and Long Xiansheng couldn't kill their way in. "Then what do we do?" asked Wu Lingfei. "They want to sign a saint contract," said Xiaolonjun. Xiaolonjun then told them what the other side wanted. They wanted to use the world's origin to swear an oath to the heavenly Tao, restricting all the saints of the 2 worlds from participating in the war. If a saint leaves, or if the other side intentionally leaves a few saints behind and doesn't sign, won't we be at a disadvantage? Asked Knight Sorrow. No. As long as most of the saints use the world's origin to swear, the world's contract will be formed. All the saints have to abide by it, or they'll be killed, said Long Xiansheng. Even if the saints don't participate, we won't be at a disadvantage, said Xiaolonjun. Is everyone going to sign or not? Asked Long Xiansheng. What's going on? The 9 regions world belongs to all of us. We haven't even fought yet, but you're already excluding us, said the Flying Tiger Saint gloomily. Even if it's a contract, we saints have already done what we should. Because we have restrained the other party's saints, the question now is whether or not we should sign the saints' agreement. Long Xiansheng said, this is a huge gamble. They don't know the strength of our 9 regions world's venerables, and we don't know their strength either. It's like a blind man against a blind man, said Tianming Saint. Never, 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 never read a novel. Then is there another possibility? Their spies entered our 9-domain world without us noticing and investigated it, said Knight Sorrow. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, everyone was stunned because it was highly possible. Grandpa, quickly send someone to tell my father not to break through to the Saint realm for now. If the saints don't participate, then the existence of an invincible venerable is very important, said Knight Sorrow to Yiling Huan. All right, Lingxia, go back and inform them. If they can't suppress it, then don't disturb them, said Yiling Huan. Is this considered cheating my father? Asked Knight Sorrow, rubbing his nose. He felt that he had let his father down. No, your father has to control the complete laws first before breaking through. As long as he doesn't interrupt his breakthrough, it's not a big deal. In any case, he can enter the Saint realm at any time. It can be considered a consolidation, said Yiling Huan. Let's return to the previous question. Is it possible that the other party has figured out the strength of our 9 regions world's venerables? Asked Wu Lingfei. It's very possible, but we can't determine that. Long Xianxing nodded because no one dared to say that. As long as their commander isn't an idiot, then they'll definitely investigate the strength of the 9 regions world before starting the war. Right now, we might be hiding the Night Moon Dynasty, said Knight Sorrow. Sky-slaying Saint, what's the situation with the Night Moon Dynasty's venerables? Asked Xiaolonjun. Yiling Huan's title was Sky-slaying Saint. If my son doesn't break through, then there are 2 invincible venerables for peak venerables and 5 or 6 advanced venerables. There's no count below that, said Yiling Huan. That's very strong, said Long Xiansheng. That was equivalent to the strength of the venerables of the other regions. As long as the peak venerables of the Night Moon Dynasty have enough space energy resources, it is possible for them to become invincible venerables. If we sign the Saint contract, we will use the power of the 9 domains to push the 4 peak venerables of the Night Moon Dynasty into the ranks of invincible venerables, Lin Yuandao said. It seems that the Saints can sign the contract. Long Xiansheng looked at the group of Saints and said, I think so. The Night Moon Dynasty is strong enough. Yi Tian was ferocious back then, and his descendants are also powerful, said Sky Underworld Saint. Then the Saints agreed to sign the Saint contract. If they didn't, then the war wouldn't be easy to fight. If they couldn't take down the other side's 2 peak Saints, then they wouldn't have a chance at victory. If they wanted a complete victory, they had to restrict the Saints of both sides. Signing the Saint contract is also a chance for the Profound Mysteries realm to win. If they can't defeat Long, Xiansheng, and Sky Underworld Saint, they won't be able to break in, said Xiaolanjun. Now the juniors will be under pressure, but there's nothing we can do about it. That bastard's high-grade Saint Treasure Heart is disgusting. It's too difficult to kill him, said Long Xiansheng. For hours later, Yi Lingxie returned to Eastern Cloud City. Brother Wang, I came back just in time. Wu Yu has already finished comprehending the laws and was preparing to break through his true qi. He stopped now, said Evil Kingling. That's good. That's like having an invincible saint, said Sky Underworld Saint. I'll have to trouble Prince Wu Yu to wait a bit before entering the Saint realm, said Xiaolanjun. That was a sacrifice. She had to suppress her own accomplishments for the sake of the 9 regions world. After some more discussion, they decided to sign the Saint contract, leaving the war to those below the Saint realm. Night Sorrow felt that it was too early to sign the Saint contract because the 9 regions world's Saints weren't ready yet. However, Sky Underworld Saint was a bit anxious because the Profound Mysteries realm Saints were still on the move. The Western Nether realm was still suffering from the flames of war. Night Sorrow sighed and didn't say anything else. After the Saints signed the Saint contract, Night Sorrow didn't have anything to do. He just waited in Eastern Cloud City, thinking about how the war would go. At night, the Saints all returned and the Saint contract was signed. Just as everyone was discussing the deployment, news came that the Profound Mysteries Realm's army had already started fighting in the Western Nether realm. Chapter 8:18. Didn't you listen to Night Sorrow? We're at a disadvantage. We haven't deployed our troops yet, and we can't defend against the enemy's attack. Sky Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow apologetically. Night Sorrow had said that they signed the contract too early, and the Western Nether region hadn't deployed their defenses yet. Night Sorrow, what do you think? Xiaolanjun looked at Night Sorrow. Seniors, you can make the decision about the war. Night Sorrow is here to fight. Night Sorrow shook his head. It's my fault for not listening to your suggestion. If you have a good suggestion, we'll listen to it. Sky Underworld Saint said. The other saints nodded. They had cultivated for a long time, and they were all powerful in individual battles. However, they hadn't come into contact with a war before. Then I'll tell you what I think. This war can't be decided in a short period of time. So, the loss of one city or one pool isn't important. As long as we win, we can recoup our losses. A local war is all for the sake of the final victory. Night Sorrow said. His words were vague, and he felt that there was no point in defending the Western Nether region now. Don't worry about me. Continue. Sky Underworld Saint understood what Night Sorrow meant. Although it was painful, he also knew that defending the Western Nether region wasn't the best plan. Our 9-domain world was forced into a battle against a prepared enemy. We are at a disadvantage in terms of manpower, resources, and mentality. We should have the Western Nether domain's forces retreat to the 3 origin domain and set up a defensive line in the 3 origin domain's domain C. We will first suppress the enemy in the Western Nether domain. Then, we will gather the Venerables. At that time, whether we continue to defend or press on will be up to us, said Night Sorrow. I have no objections. Long Xiansheng said. Then, everyone nodded. This was the safest plan for now. Okay, then we'll retreat first. Sky Underworld Saint sighed. Don't worry, Underworld Saint. As long as we win, the Western Nether region's losses will be recouped, Night Sorrow said to Underworld Saint. That's it then. Heavenly Underworld Saint, you arrange the retreat of the Western Nether region. As for the others, return to the other regions and gather all the mid-level and high-level venerables. Night Sorrow, do you have anything else to add? Long Xinxing said. Heavenly Underworld Saint nodded and went to arrange this matter. Every force in the 3 origin region, please treat the troops from the Western Nether region well. Do not allow any conflicts or fights. Also gather some resources. War is a battle of manpower and financial resources are resources, Night Sorrow said. Following this, all of the saints nodded. This was a war between the 9 regions world, so it was only natural for everyone to contribute. No one felt that this was inappropriate. Also, everyone has spatial crystals. Don't hide your spatial resources. If Night Moon's 4 pinnacle saints all reach the invincible venerable level, it might be the key to victory, Xiaolanjun said. Night Moon will also give appropriate compensation. I'll use other resources to exchange, Night Sorrow said. His principle as a person was to have no selfish desires. Even in times of war, he wouldn't take advantage of others. What are you talking about? The 9 regions world's war is the responsibility of every life in the 9 regions. Those who need to contribute will contribute, and those who need to contribute will contribute. There's nothing to say about that. Also, you, as a 4th rank venerable, can fight against high-level venerables. What support do you need? True Ocean Saint asked Night Sorrow. I only need desolate stones. Night Sorrow said. He didn't say anything about exchanging resources. That would easily cause the other saints to scold him. If you need desolate stones, I've obtained a few by chance. Are you sure you can use them? Heavenly Underworld Saint had arranged for the higher-ups in Eastern Cloud City to inform the Western Nether regions people to gather in Eastern Cloud City and retreat. When he returned, he heard Night Sorrow's words. I can use them. Night Sorrow waved his hand, and the power of time in his hand began to revolve. The energy was filled with the changing of the wind and clouds. Then take these desolate stones. Heavenly Underworld Saint tossed 4 desolate stones to Night Sorrow. Latest Chapter 8 on BVI Network. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. There are many people in the Western Nether region. Everyone, help arrange the retreat. I'll set up 2 teleportation formations here. That way, we'll be able to teleport quickly and avoid losses. All right, let's do that. Heavenly Underworld Saint nodded and tossed 2 teleportation crystals to Night Sorrow. War was cruel. The enemy wouldn't attack civilians, but there were still many cultivators in the Western Nether region. 3 days later, the Western Nether region's cultivators finished retreating. Of course, they had taken all the resources with them. The profound mysteries realm had taken over the city, but it was empty. The Western Nether region had enough time to retreat because the profound mysteries realm had been cautious and hadn't dared to advance too far. Under the joint efforts of the 9 regions' saints, the Western Nether region's retreating troops were properly arranged. The other 9 regions' supremacy's elites were also sent to the 3 origin regions' realm C. Night Sorrow was chatting with the members of the God-slaying team when Long Xiansheng sent someone to call him to the command tent. Xiaolanjun nodded at Night Sorrow and summarized the current deployment. Then, she looked at Night Sorrow and said, Young Master, you've only been in the world for a short time, but you've experienced a lot of war. Tell me your thoughts. As for setting up the defensive line and array formations, these seniors might have thought about it. Then, I'll add 2 more points. The realm sees coastline seals off the flying cultivators and airships, but it can't seal off the teleportation formations. If the enemy has set up the teleportation formations in advance, then everything we have is just decorations, Night Sorrow said. Yeah, we haven't thought about that. We're just thinking about how to stabilize the defensive line. If the enemy teleports directly, then no matter how stable our defensive line is, it's useless. Xiaolanjuan's expression changed. In war, we don't just have to think about what we should do. We also have to think about what the enemy will do. If I were the enemy, I would have set up the teleportation formations before the war, Night Sorrow said. Fortunately, you're from the 9 regions, Long Sheng said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow asked about the distance between the Western Nether region and the 3 Origin regions Realm C. Sky Underworld, Saint told Night Sorrow that it was 800,000 miles. The teleportation formation can teleport 1 million miles. That means that if there is a teleportation formation, it's within 200,000 miles of us. However, it's very difficult to find it. Night Sorrow rubbed his head. Dragon Sage and I will mobilize the beast army of the 3 Origin region and sweep through this area. The rest of you, don't be idle. Go and search. I feel that Night Sorrow is enough to stay here, Flying Tiger Saint said. He was a beast saint and had the ability to control the beasts. Wuji Saint, you stay here with Night Sorrow. The other saints and cultivators below the Supremacy Realm will go and search for the teleportation formations, Long Xianxing said. The others left, and Night Sorrow returned to his tent. While he was chatting with Night Moon, Xiaolan Jun came. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and took out the formation diagram of the 3 of them. He handed it to Xiaolan Jun. Senior Xia, this is the formation diagram. Let the participants practice it. As long as they can use it in battle, they can kill opponents with higher cultivation than them. Xiaolan Jun took the formation diagram and looked at Night Sorrow. Chapter 819. How's the effect? Xiaolan Jun asked as she held the diagram. Our God-slaying squad is capable of fighting those above our level. This has to do with the fact that we value actual combat ability. However, teamwork is also an important factor. We don't have much time right now, so let's practice this not-so-complicated technique first, Night Sorrow said. All right, then I'll go find a formation master to carve the diagram and distribute it. Xiaolan Jun left after saying that. Shang'er not bad. Yi Shinxin nodded at Night Sorrow. Jay, look at the chapter Knight. Moon's Emperor and Prince had been here for a while. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing had also arrived. Tianyu had also arrived with the God-slaying team. What formation diagram? Carve a copy later and distribute it to the family. We'll learn it too, Yi Xinquang said. He wanted Night Moon to gain some benefits. Haha, great-grandpas. There's no problem with carving the diagram for Night Moon's dynasty. I researched it myself, and it's Night Moon's. However, great-grandpas, you don't need to practice it. You're all peak venerables and are on the verge of becoming unrivaled venerables. There's no need for you to learn how to fight against the strong, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yi Xinquang turned his head away in embarrassment. After that, the Grand Elder and Bei Tinga came to see Night Sorrow. The Sikong family also came to talk to Night Sorrow. As the battle approached, the 9 regions' forces continued to gather. Night Sorrow cultivated his spear technique in the morning, and in the afternoon and night, he cultivated on the 70th floor of the Space-Time Pagoda. 1 day became 2 days, and the effects were still very strong. Night Sorrow also knew that the battle wouldn't enter the final stage so quickly. The 9 regions' world needed time, and so did the profound mysteries realm. 4 days later, a group of saints came back. Among them, Sky Underworld Saint and Dragon Saint each destroyed a transmission formation. Night Sorrow, your judgment is accurate. Otherwise, if we were to just stand guard here like idiots, they would have already blossomed in our midst. Long Xianxing said. Next, we need to take precautions against this, Night Sorrow said. Gather all the high-rank and low-rank monster spirits in the Realm C. If venerables fly over from the coastline, we need to be the first to know and kill them. We can't give them a chance to set up teleportation formations. The Dragon Sage has returned to the realm of unbounded desolation and used a teleportation portal to bring all of the high-level, exalted-level demonic beasts here. Since the 3 Origin domain has been a subordinate domain for many years, there's no major power in the realm of unbounded desolation. Therefore, the strength and numbers of the demonic beasts there are still quite high, the Flying Tiger Sage said. Night Sorrow, do you have any better ideas? Even though we can't fight, there are still some things that we can do. Long Xianxing spoke up. Knight Sorrow then expressed his opinion. They could use the battle in the Western Nether Realm to slow down the speed of the Profound Mysteries Realm and buy time for the Nine Realms. They had already achieved this step, and the Nine Realms were not at a disadvantage in a frontal battle. The key was that they couldn't let the enemy sneak in. He hoped that the Saints who had nothing to do could go to the coastline and guard against the enemy. Long Xianxing nodded. I have no objections to this, and I'm sure the others won't either. Our Saints are just decorations, so we'll leave 2 people behind to support Knight Sorrow. The 9 zones also need someone to give orders, so we have to follow orders in battle. That way, our combat strength will increase, said Lin Yuandao. Then, all of the Saints turned to look at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow waved his hand. He just wanted to fight. He didn't want to care about other things. You can't refuse. The 9 realms are related to you, and they all acknowledge you. You just have to shoulder it, Long Xianxing said. Knight Sorrow shook his head and said, I still plan to cultivate hard and become a high-level saint as soon as possible. Xiaolan Jun said, How about this? You just have to study the strategy. I'll arrange 2 assistants for you. I'll also cooperate with you to communicate with people you're not familiar with. Knight Sorrow wanted to say something, but Sky Underworld Saint waved his hand and said, This is the responsibility of the 9 realms. We have to shoulder it. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow nodded. This was because many people were looking at him with anticipation in their eyes. Then, the group of saints arranged 2 assistants for Knight Sorrow. One was Yi Wuyo, who had become a quasi-saint, and the other was the North Sea region's Tai Shu. After setting the tone, the saints only left Xiaolan Jun and the 2 first-stage saints from Tianji Tower. The others went to the coastline. Xiaolan Jun gathered the leaders of the 9 realms in Knight Sorrow's tent. Knight Sorrow's tent was now the command tent. The Eastern Xian region's representative was Lei Hua. The Taiwei region's representative was also from the Eastern Xian region, Kuan Nan. The North Sea region's representative was the City Lord Tai Shu and the Invincible Saint, Bei Tiange. The Unbounded Desolation region's representative was the Roaring Tiger City's City Lord and Qing Meng, who was also from Tianji Tower. Knight Sorrow didn't know the Nanli region's representative. It was the City Lord of Nanli City, Lu Qin, who was also an Invincible Saint. The Taiching region's representative was Yi Wuyo and Yin Tianlong, who was already a half-saint. The Qingtian region's representative was Sikong Luyin and an invincible saint called Shui Wuling. No one from the Three Origin region came because it had been ruled for many years. The West Nether region's representative was Shi Taiji, the City Lord of West Nether City, who had cooperated with the Qingtian region to attack the Eastern Xian region. The Tianji Tower's representative was Lu Trin Swan, a half-saint, and Li Changtian, a peak saint. Then Xiaolan Jun spoke. Knight Sorrow would be in full command of the battle, and Yi Wuyo and Tai Shu would cooperate with him. After hearing Xiaolan Jun's words, the leaders of the 9 realms stood up and cupped their hands. Knight Sorrow may have made a mistake, but even if it's a mistake, we still have to carry it out, Xiaolan Jun said. You can communicate with me afterward. I'm saying this because I want the people of the 9 realms to follow orders. No one disagreed, because this was the general situation and also the general trend. Then I'll say a few words. This is the command tent. When we're formulating tactics, we can voice out our opinions and come up with a perfect strategy. However, once we leave the tent, we have to carry it out, Knight Sorrow said. That's good. I'm just worried that if we have different opinions, we can't say anything, Shi Taiji said. That won't happen. We're fighting for the 9 realms, and victory is our only goal. Anyone can voice out their opinions and suggestions, Knight Sorrow said. Then everyone nodded. They were originally worried that Knight Sorrow was too young and sharp and wouldn't listen to them. Now, they felt that there was no problem. Since everyone has nodded, I'll issue the first deployment. All the scarce attribute resources in the 9 realms king cities will be handed over to City Lord Tai Shu. City Lord Lu Qin will be responsible for recording the bills. In addition, if there are any peak saints who have become invincible venerables in the 9 realms cities, report any resources they need. Saints can't participate in the battle, so we'll create invincible venerables, Knight Sorrow said. Yes. As soon as Knight Sorrow finished speaking, everyone cupped their hands and accepted the order. They didn't expect Knight Sorrow's first order to be so imposing. Chapter 820. Half a day later, the representatives of the various domains once again returned to Yishang's tent. They had all brought resources with them. Let's start with me. I have life, spirit fluid, and origin spirit fluid. These are necessary resources for us, invincible venerables and peak venerables. The origin spirit fluid can replenish your true chi in an instant, while the life spirit fluid can heal your injuries. Later, Lord Tai Shu and Lord Lu Qin distribute them to everyone. Remember, invincible venerables and peak venerables must have them. Knight Sorrow took out 10 bottles of origin spirit fluid and 5 bottles of life spirit fluid. Isn't this a bit too much? Tai Shu asked Knight Sorrow. The 9 regions world is our home. We can't be stingy, Knight Sorrow said. Hearing Yishang's words, the group nodded. This was courage, the courage of a person in a high position. Then, everyone handed over their resources, which are basically all kinds of attribute crystals. Then, they counted the resources needed by the peak venerables of the various regions and distributed them. Night Moon Dynasty took all the spatial attribute crystals, but it wasn't an advantage because Night Moon Dynasty had accumulated a lot of other attribute crystals over the years. Night Moon people mainly cultivated spatial attribute crystals, so they didn't consume other attribute crystals this time. Knight Sorrow also found a formation master to set up an illusion formation and a killing formation. However, there was another problem, which was that there were no top-grade spirit stones to make the formation base. There were many high-grade spirit stones in the 9 regions world, but top-grade spirit stones were too rare. Knight Sorrow took out 100 top-grade spirit stones and gave them to Tianji Tower's formation master, Shang. At this time, everyone looked at Knight Sorrow with admiration. 100 top-grade spirit stones might be the entire collection of a large force. The worst thing to do in a war is to be impatient. We have to stabilize ourselves first. Everyone below the invincible venerable realm must cultivate the joint attack formation. Moreover, everyone must be able to adapt to any joint attack position. This way, when their invincible venerables come, our peak venerables can suppress them with numbers, and our invincible venerables can be free to kill their invincible venerables. Knight Sorrow ordered the group of people. In the end, Knight Sorrow looked at his father, Yi Wuyo. Father, you are now a quasi-sage. Since the other saints are bound by a contract and cannot attack, no one can hurt you. How about you help me gather information? Hee, of course. Father will go over first, Yi Wuyo said with a smile. Max Y at TX above stanza J of new chapter. You can choose 1 or 2 more people. They have to be fast, have strong survival skills, and have no room for improvement in their strength. You can go with them. You can set fires and assassinate people while scouting for information, Knight Sorrow said to Yi Wuyo. I can do it. Yin Tianlong stood out and said, I can do it too. Shui Wuling, the invincible venerable from the Qingtian domain, also stood out. All right, your mission is very simple. You are to gather information and cause destruction to buy time for us. The key point is to be able to kill and fight. Every time you shoot, change your location. Don't give them a chance to surround you. Our war is not about winning or losing a city or a territory. As long as we are alive, we can win the war. Knight Sorrow looked at his father and the other 2 people and said. Yi Wuyo nodded. Yin Tianlong and Shui Wuling also cupped their hands in obeisance. They felt that Knight Sorrow's tactics were indeed very unique. Lord Tai Shu equipped the 3 of them with resources. Fire oil, hidden weapons, powerful poisons. Equip them with everything you can, Knight Sorrow said. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, everyone in the tent shivered. This was too ruthless. Not only did they have to kill and set fires, but they also had to equip them with hidden weapons and poisons. This was simply indescribable. Father, Seniors, please don't be disgusted. This is war. If we lose the war, our descendants will be trampled on by others. Therefore, all methods are to serve the war. You're just following orders. You're gentlemen. I'll bear the title of a villain. In order to protect my family and friends, I'll do anything, Knight Sorrow said. At this time, everyone in the tent once again cupped their hands in obeisance to Knight Sorrow. Perhaps before this, I was still unconvinced and just went with the flow. But now, I'm convinced, Shitaiji said to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow, Father understands you. Father cultivates the path of the monarch and can't bear to see people crowing and stealing. But you're doing a great deed. You are a person of the 9 realms and have done something for the 9 realms. No matter what methods you use, you're doing a great deed. Yi Weio left the tent. Yin Tianlong smiled and nodded at Knight Sorrow before also leaving the tent. Shui Wuling even gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. Then Tai Shu and Lu Qin also left the tent to equip the 3 of them with resources. In addition, Senior Lei Hu will be in charge of mobilizing people. Those peak venerables with room to grow, go, and increase their strength. Those who aren't in seclusion, cultivate a joint attack formation. Senior Sword Sovereign North, you go and gather those who understand formations. Knight Sorrow assigned tasks to Hu Leihua and Bei Tiange. Bei Tiange and Leihua cupped their hands in obeisance. Then what should I do? Asked Hu Shao. Xing Meng also stood up. Continue to gather demon beasts and head to the edge of the realm sea. The more, the better, said Knight Sorrow. Genius Knight Sorrow, I used to think that you were a cultivation genius. I didn't expect your understanding of war to be so good. If it were me, I wouldn't have been able to arrange it so perfectly. Xiaolan Jun clapped her hands after hearing Knight Sorrow's arrangements. Tianji Tower had left behind a message. Lin Yuan Dao and Wu Lingfei, who had been listening, also clapped their hands. As long as the seniors feel that there's no problem, said Knight Sorrow with a smile. Knight Sorrow, when I first met you, you were just a little kid at the 3rd rank. I've watched you grow until now, but I still don't understand why you have so many ideas about war in your head. Wu Lingfei also didn't understand. When Medicine Valley was rising, I was thinking about how to defeat Golden Flame Sect. When Eastern Xian region was attacked by Qingtian region and Western Nether region, I was also thinking about how to win a region war. Later, when I learned about Night Moon, I started thinking about how to maximize the effect of war. The more I thought about it, the more I understood. Knight Sorrow smiled. In the future, anyone who meets you in the 9 realms will have to take a detour. No one will fight with you, said Shitaiji. I hope that the 9 realms won't have any internal wars. If we have the energy, we can fight outside. The 9 realms are strong, and that's our pride, said Knight Sorrow. Everyone nodded. They liked Knight Sorrow's way of thinking very much. Knight Sorrow even felt that this war had come at the right time. It was like training soldiers. The profound Heaven World's future war would be the true crisis. Knight Sorrow wasn't worried about the profound Mysteries Realms attack. Everyone went to work. Knight Sorrow told Xiaolan Jun that he was going to cultivate. He wanted to consolidate his cultivation base and then eat a dragon spirit pill. That way, he could quickly reach the 6th rank. Knight Sorrow was still a bit anxious. His mid-level venerable cultivation base wasn't enough to be of much use in a war. Chapter 821. Some of Knight Sorrow's orders were carried out perfectly. Those who defended, those who set up formations. Many of them were cultivating the joint attack of formations. At this time, the people of the 9 regions didn't care about regions or powers. They all cultivated together. City Lord Tai Shu, joint attack formations will become the mainstream in the future, said Lu Qin to Tai Shu as she watched the cultivators of the 9 regions cultivate joint attack formations. In the past, joint attack formations were also popular. I don't know when, but they faded out of the line of sight of cultivators. Everyone began to focus on individual strength. Just look at Knight Sorrow's God-slaying squad. They're all young, but they're very strong. Back then, with these young people, Knight Sorrow was able to slaughter his way through the various dynasties, said Tai Shu. Every generation brings forth new talents. In this generation, no one can compare to him. Lu Qin gave her evaluation of Night Sorrow. He's very good to the people around him. He's ridiculously good. He's ruthless to his enemies. They're two extremes. He can't be considered a hero, but he's an ambitious and ruthless person. Taishu also gave his evaluation of Night Sorrow. Since ancient times, how many heroes have had good endings? They've all ended in tragedy. As for ambitious and ruthless people, they've always laughed proudly in their era, said Shitaiji. You should rejoice. Right now, the 9 regions are in chaos. He doesn't want any internal conflicts. If there weren't any external conflicts, he would sooner or later remember the matter of your Western Nether region attacking the Eastern Xian region. The people he's thinking about are all unlucky. The Grand Pure Region's dynasties have existed for a long time, but the Jiyu family was still destroyed, said Lu Qin. Cool BZ Song P Hair. Don't try to scare me. The war between the Western Nether region and the Eastern Xian region is just a realm war. We don't have any grudges against each other. Even if we don't have a war right now, this matter can still be resolved. The Taiqing region's empires are despicable, and Night Moon is impossible to resolve. Not to mention Jiyu's family. No man would tolerate having ideas about other people's women. They deserve it. Jiyu Fenglan isn't an idiot. So how could he do such a brainless thing? Actually, Jiyu Fenglan's actions are not incomprehensible. The most outstanding youngsters in the 9 realms are his grandson, Jiyu Hao, and Night Sorrow. He wants to disgust Night Sorrow, so that Night Sorrow's luck will not be good, and so that Night Sorrow's spirit will be covered in dust. It's just that some things deviated too much from his estimations, said the Grand Elder. Lu Qin shook her head. A person can be extreme. They can also do anything to achieve their goals. However, they cannot lose their morals. The following days were very stable. Night Sorrow spent most of his time either cultivating a spatial crack or patrolling the coastline. Long Xianshang sent word that he had discovered another transportation formation. This time, Night Sorrow didn't have Long Xiansheng destroy it. Instead, he brought a group of 9 realm sovereigns and saints over. Leave this transportation formation, said Night Sorrow. Why leave it? Asked the Grand Elder. It'll be useful. Yishan smiled and nodded at the entropy he had brought. The two of them began to set up a formation. The formation covered a very large area, surrounding the teleportation formation with a radius of 5 kilometers. Entropy didn't have many spirit stones, so Night Sorrow provided them with top-grade spirit stones. He's trying to scam us, said Lu Qin. This is a huge trap. I can already imagine it. When a group of people from the Profound Mysteries realm teleported over and triggered the formation, the teleportation formation would break down and they would be unable to return. Then, they would be unable to call for help, Hu Xiao said. That's too ruthless, said Qingming. Half a day passed, and the array was finished. Yishang clapped his hands and said, We're done here. Enforcer Shang, you hide in the illusion array. When they teleport over, crush my communication crystal. When they're done, you detonate the spirit explosion array onto the teleportation array. Night Sorrow then created a soul crystal and gave it to Entropy. Don't worry, young master. I'll definitely complete my mission. This illusion formation and killing formation will definitely kill them, said Entropy excitedly as he held Night Sorrow's crystal. Feeling that there were no problems, Night Sorrow left the region and returned to his tent in the Realm Sea. After drinking a cup of tea, Night Sorrow went to the edge of the Realm Sea to cultivate a spatial crack. He used the chaotic flow of space to stabilize his cultivation base. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow felt that his cultivation base was stable enough for him to eat dragon spirit pills. Night Sorrow then created a communication crystal and gave it to Grand Uncle, telling him that he would be in seclusion for a while. If there were any problems, Grand Uncle could crush the crystal. After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow went to see his mother and Night Moon. He also saw the members of the god-slaying squad cultivating. Then, he found a secluded place and entered the space-time pagoda. After chatting with Xue Shi for a bit, he entered the 70th floor of the pagoda, ate a dragon spirit pill, and began cultivating. While cultivating his true energy, Knight Sorrow held the desolate stone in his hand to increase the power of the Myriad Daos tome. At the same time, his bloodline talent and soul power were steadily increasing. Cultivating the soul doppelganger consumed a lot of Knight Sorrow's soul power. However, after replenishing it, he improved by quite a bit. Knight Sorrow knew that the strength of a high-level cultivator's soul power was the key to great achievements. If one wanted to become a saint, one's soul power had to be condensed into a divine pearl. With this as the foundation, one's true energy could break through to the saint realm. After 10 days, Knight Sorrow's cultivation base reached the peak of 5th level Venerable. The Myriad Daos tome's cultivation base also reached the peak of 4th level Spirit Refinement realm. As for his bloodline talent, Knight Sorrow couldn't increase it in quantity. He could only condense it to make it more stable. After stretching his waist, Knight Sorrow returned to the 60th floor of the Space-Time Pagoda. Your cultivation base is rising really fast. However, you still have to pay attention to your foundation. You can't neglect it just because you're in a hurry. Shueshi reminded Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow smiled and nodded. After drinking a pot of tea, Shueshi helped Knight Sorrow nourish the Myriad Daos tome's energy, true energy, and body. Only then did Knight Sorrow leave the Space-Time Pagoda. After asking the Grand Uncles and Lu Qin, Knight Sorrow learned that everything was stable. There was no movement at the moment. The people of the 9 regions world were still increasing their strength. Time is very important. Give us some more time, and we'll have even more unrivaled venerables. The other high-level venerables will also be able to control the joint attack formation. Also, has there been any news from my father, Monarch Yun, and Venerable Wu Hen? Knight Sorrow asked. No. However, they're all safe. They left their soul beads in the hands of their relatives. There's no problem with their safety, said the Grand Uncles. That's good. I'll have to trouble the Grand Uncles and Uncle Master Lu with some matters, said Knight Sorrow. After chatting with the Grand Uncles and Lu Qin for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the God-Slaying Squad's camp to take a look. Then he went to the edge of the Realm Sea to cultivate a spatial crack and consolidate his cultivation base. Knight Sorrow was a bit anxious. His cultivation base was only at the middle level. Once he became a high-level venerable, he would be able to fight peak venerables. Chapter 822. Knight Sorrow was very confident in the current situation. So what if the profound mysteries realm was strong? If they left the Western Nether region and attacked the 3 Origin region, they would suffer a heavy blow. Yishun Xian and Yishun Lei used 7 days to stabilize their cultivation, and they could break through at any time. Another piece of good news came. 2 more invincible venerables appeared in Yiyu. They were Yishun Xian and Yishun Lei. Their elemental power had reached saturation, and they could continuously use spatial blades. The power of their spatial rend had greatly increased. This was good news for the 9 regions world. In a situation where saints didn't participate in the war, invincible venerables were an important factor in determining the outcome of the war. After all, it wasn't easy to produce a half-saint. Ordinary half-saints didn't have much of an advantage against high-level invincible venerables. The cultivation of the members of the God-Slaying team had increased very quickly. Many of them had reached the peak of rank 5. Knight Sorrow was very happy with this situation. When Knight Sorrow was about to break through, Yi Wuyo and the other 2 returned. Looking at the 3, Knight Sorrow knew that they must have brought back good news because Yun Tianlong looked very excited. Then, Knight Sorrow learned that Yi Wuyo and the other 2 had attacked many of the enemy's new strongholds and killed many venerables. The results were very significant. One net in addition, Shui Wuling had set up a teleportation formation in a secret place. The people of the 9 regions world could teleport there at any time to start the war. He had learned from the enemy's experience of secretly setting up teleportation formations. We won't engage in a large-scale war for now. They're well prepared. Time isn't important to them, but we're passively fighting. There are many problems that haven't been solved yet. Time is very important, Knight Sorrow said. Everyone agreed with Knight Sorrow's opinion. In the past half a month, the Venerables of the Nine Regions world had increased their combat strength. The defensive line was also impregnable. Yi Wuyo and the other two also brought back some news. The enemy had many invincible Venerables and peak Venerables. They had been besieged once. Yi Wuyo had brought up the rear, and Yin Tianlong and Shui Wuling had escaped. Following this, Yi Wuyo and the other two still intended to fight. They would not let the other party rest. Yishan agreed, but he emphasized that safety was the most important thing. They had to ensure that their own safety was not a problem and that they could maximize their gains. Yi Wuyo and the other two went to battle again. Knight Sorrow went to ask Xiaolan Jun if the Nine Realm Saints had found any more teleportation arrays. After receiving a negative answer, Knight Sorrow understood that the teleportation portal that they had left behind might be the key to changing the outcome of the war. Knight Sorrow found Hua Haining and asked him to prepare a batch of poison and antidote pills. After listening to Knight Sorrow's arrangements, Hua Haining was stunned for a moment before nodding his head. He knew that Knight Sorrow was planning something big again. Before going into seclusion, Knight Sorrow went to see his mother again and talked with Sikong Chiyu and the other two girls. After that, Knight Sorrow went into Yu Qing's tent and began his seclusion to break through. After 3 days, Knight Sorrow's true Qi cultivation had reached the 6th level of the Venerable Realm. His Myriad Dao Treasure Tome had also reached the 5th level of the Spirit Refinement Realm. Yishang felt that the Myriad Dao Treasure Tome was indeed powerful. When the Myriad Dao Treasure Tome entered the Spirit Refinement Realm, while cultivating the body's energy, the Myriad Dao Treasure Tome's soul power increased rapidly. The increase in cultivation allowed Knight Sorrow's battle prowess to increase by a lot. After that, Knight Sorrow began to stabilize his cultivation. The Nine Realms world's formation was very stable. Everyone's battle prowess had increased. As time passed, the Nine Realms world would benefit. Therefore, no one doubted Knight Sorrow's decision. West Nether City was now occupied by the Profound Mysteries realm. The upper echelons of the Profound Mysteries realm were stationed in the City Lord's mansion. Holy Maiden, we've investigated many times. The realm sea of the 3 origin field is very stable. It won't be easy for us to sneak in. As for the 3 cultivators from the Nine Realms world, they're constantly destroying our newly formed foundation. We need to deal with them. Otherwise, our morale will be shaken, a gray-robed old man said. Saint Xian, the commander of the Nine Realms world, is very good at looking at the big picture. Even when the West Nether City is occupied, he can still hold his ground and compete with us patiently. That's amazing. Now, we're in a passive position, the Veiled Woman said. This woman was the commander of the Profound Mysteries Realms attack on the Nine Realms world, Jun Xuanji. She was the Holy Maiden of the Profound Mysteries Pavilion, the strongest faction in the Profound Mysteries realm. The gray-robed old man was the Profound Mysteries Pavilion's Grand Elder, Xian Wenxiu. He also had a high-grade sage artifact. Right now, we still need to hold our ground. After all, we're the ones who have the upper hand. Are they just going to watch us occupy the West Nether City? If they don't take it back, their camp will have different opinions. That will be the time for us to attack, the veiled Jun Xuanji said. Xian Wenxiu nodded. As Xian Wenxiu nodded, the other upper echelons of the Profound Mysteries realm didn't say anything. Xian Wenxiu was the strongest expert in the Profound Mysteries realm. He was the stabilizing force. No one could question his words and decisions. Jun Xuanji was also supported by him. Holy Maiden, how should we deal with those 3 despicable ambushers? They've committed murder and arson. They're unscrupulous in their methods, a man reported. Let them jump. We'll gather our forces in the key areas. Withdraw the forces in the areas that we don't need to pay attention to. The war isn't over yet. Unnecessary occupation is meaningless. They've only discovered 2 of the 3 teleportation formations. The other teleportation formation is our opportunity, Jun Xuanji said as he tapped the armrest of his chair. Following Jun Xuanji's words, the others bowed and accepted the order. Jun Xuanji took out a scroll and tapped it on the table in front of him. Also, why isn't there a spatial attribute Invincible Sovereign's name on the list of 9 domain saints and invincible sovereigns that I have? Holy Maiden, this person's details were determined by me and the Dark Shadow sect master. However, it could also be a hidden cultivator who has just appeared, explained an old man. Jun Xuanji nodded. Although she was furious, she knew that it wasn't appropriate to continue investigating. It was normal for a hidden expert to appear. If there's a problem with the information, we'll be in a passive position. Originally, we thought that the Profound Mysteries realm would be able to suppress the saints and win the war. But now, 2 peak saints have appeared, and one of them can even contend with Grand Exalted Xian. That forced us to sign a saint contract. If there's a problem with the information on the sovereigns and sovereigns, it'll be troublesome for the Profound Mysteries realm, said Jun Xuanji. After that, Jun Xuanji arranged for 30 sovereigns to be on standby. We're not afraid of them harassing us because this is their territory. If the flames of war erupt in their territory, I don't believe they'll be able to hold their ground. A moment later, Western Taiji and the other sovereigns arrived. They knew that Night Sorrow's side might make a move again. Western Taiji told Night Sorrow that the war broke out in the Nether Canyon. That was the first battlefield. The Profound Mysteries Realm's invasion site was there. We need to stabilize the current situation. After we completely stabilize the situation, we need to win. Sky Underworld Saint, Western Taiji, I'm sorry. The situation in the Western Nether region still needs to be maintained, said Night Sorrow to Sky Underworld Saint and Western Taiji. Night Sorrow, although I'm sad that the Western Nether region has fallen, I can understand the big picture. So, you don't need to apologize. If there's anything wrong, it's my fault. I didn't listen to your advice back then, causing the Western Nether region to be handed over, said Sky Underworld Saint. After we stabilize the situation, what do you think, Night Sorrow? Asked Xiaolanjun. Hee. I still won't send people to the spatial passageway, because it's destined to be a huge pit. However, I'll go there personally. Night Sorrow stood up and said, Nonsense. You're now the commander of the 9 regions world. How can you go there personally? Xiaolanjun reprimanded him. The others also shook their heads. I've always supported all the decisions you've made during this period of time. This time, it's a little unreliable. Lu Qin said, City Lord Lu, you have your reasons for opposing, but I have my reasons for going. Back then, when I entered the Netherworld as a Void Inquiry Stage expert, I was able to survive the encirclement of countless venerable realm nether beasts, but the others couldn't. If I don't go, won't the pit at the spatial passageway kill many of my people? Night Sorrow looked at Lu Qin and said, A general success is built on thousands of bones. It's impossible for there to be no deaths in a war. What you need to be is a general, not a skeleton. As long as we win the war, the deaths of some people are nothing. I can go there. Lu Qin looked at Night Sorrow and said, She was resolutely against it. If I tell you that this world war is just a training exercise in my eyes, would you believe me? Night Sorrow said with a smile. After that, Night Sorrow told them about the great war that happened once every 10,000 years and the war that was about to break out in the Netherworld. The 9 regions world is going to enter an era of war. We can't afford to lose people easily. Night Sorrow told them about the great war in the Heaven Profound world and the situation in the Netherworld. The 9 regions saints are actually just materials. Xiaolanjun smiled bitterly. I can't do it now. Once I become a high-level exalt, I'll go to the spatial passageway and bring a group of people into the Profound Mysteries realm. At that time, I'll kill, not just take a beating. I'll beat the Profound Mysteries realm until they can't enter the 9 regions again. I'll completely crush them in one go, said Yishan. At this moment, No one objected to Night Sorrow's decision anymore. Smiling at everyone, Night Sorrow left the tent and went to his mother's tent. "Son, don't tire yourself out. Come and have some tea." Yu Qing poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. "Mother, how's the effect of that saber?" Night Sorrow asked Yu Qing. "First V2-inch, it's very suitable. I don't have the strength of a saint, so I can only display the power of a high-grade spirit artifact. In addition, with the help of the dragon spirit pills, I won't be able to reach the peak venerable realm for long. It's only a matter of time before I reach the saint realm. You don't have to worry," Yu Qing said with a smile. Night Sorrow chatted with his mother for a while before returning to the command tent. "What other arrangements do you have?" the Grand Elder asked Night Sorrow. "Here are 50 dragon spirit pills. One pill can raise a venerable's cultivation by 1 level. You can make the arrangements. In a month, I hope that the 9 regions world will have more peak venerables." Night Sorrow took out 2 bottles of dragon spirit pills and threw them to the Grand Elder. Then, he returned to the God-slaying squad side. He also wanted to see how the God-slaying squad was doing. After Night Sorrow left, the Grand Elder looked at Xie Jun in surprise while holding the bottle of dragon spirit pills. Chapter 824. After arranging things, Night Sorrow drank tea and chatted with Sikong Chiyu, Yanglei, and Aoi. They didn't feel much pressure, and they just cultivated diligently. They didn't lack resources. Night Sorrow then went to the edge of the realm's sea to cultivate. His true Qi and Myriad Dao Tome had just advanced, so they needed time to stabilize. If Night Sorrow was stable, then the 9 realms world would be stable. After all, Night Sorrow was the commander. If he was so confident, then the others would be. After cultivating intensely for half a month, Night Sorrow felt that his cultivation base could continue eating dragon spirit pills and using desolate stones. For cultivators, stabilizing their cultivation base was very difficult. One reason was that they had to spend a lot of time nourishing themselves. The other reason was that they had to fight intensely. Night Sorrow and the other members of the God-slaying squad chose to cultivate intensely. Before entering seclusion, Night Sorrow drew a 4-person formation diagram and gave it to Taishu. Under normal circumstances, Night Sorrow wouldn't go looking for Xie Jun and the other saints. The main reason was that he didn't want them to be tainted by karma and violate the contract. Taking the diagram, Taishu and Lu Qin found people to draw it and then sent it out. Night Sorrow then went to the Profound Mysteries Realm's secret teleportation formation to take a look. He saw that Entropy was still busy with the formation. "Protector Entropy, what are you doing?" Night Sorrow took out a jug of wine and shouted at Entropy. "I've been messing around with my research recently, and my understanding of formations has improved. Now that I've entered the Grandmaster realm, I've changed my formations again. Let's make them suffer a loss." "Let's make them suffer a great loss," said Shang after opening the wine jar and drinking 2 mouthfuls. That's a good thing. A Grandmaster formation isn't easy to break. If they can't break it in a short time, we'll be able to kill them," said Night Sorrow. "Don't worry, young master. Leave this to me," said Entropy confidently. After walking around and leaving some dragon spirit pills for the God-slaying squad, Night Sorrow found a deserted place and entered the space-time pagoda. Night Sorrow, being the commander of the 9 zones, is very tiring, but there is nothing you can do about it. Shueshi made a pot of hot tea for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled at Shueshi. "How have you been? How's your cultivation recovering?" "It's not as fast as before. After all, the spatial storms in the realm sea helped me stabilize my cultivation base. Now, I can only do it slowly," Shueshi said to Night Sorrow. After that, the 2 of them cultivated together for a while. Night Sorrow gave Shueshi some Yang Qi, and Shueshi helped Night Sorrow nourish his body, Myriad Tao Tome's energy, and true Qi. Nodding at the blushing snow dusk, Night Sorrow contacted Little Kong and entered the space-time pagoda's 70th floor. Next, he consumed the dragon spirit pill and began cultivating with the blood spirit tortoise crystal. Currently, Night Sorrow's body was saturated with elemental energy. He could use the blood spirit turtle crystal to help him cultivate the Myriad Tau tome. H, A, C is 4, and the other 6 were all D, R, and Z versions. Normally speaking, Night Sorrow could only enter the 66th floor of the space-time pagoda. Any higher, and he would be injured. However, Night Sorrow's body was so strong that he could ignore this injury. This was also why Little Kong dared to transfer Night Sorrow to the 70th floor. Time slowly passed, and Night Sorrow's cultivation base steadily increased. 20 days passed in the space-time pagoda, which was only 10 days in the outside world. Night Sorrow's cultivation base had reached the peak of the 6th level Venerable Realm. However, the Myriad Tau tome was slightly weaker, and he had only reached the middle stage. After all, the blood spirit tortoise crystal's effects were slightly weaker. Night Sorrow, I'll infuse some time energy into you. Try and see if you can absorb it. If you can absorb it, then even if you don't have the Desolate Stone, your body's elemental energy will always be saturated. Little Kong communicated with Night Sorrow, who was about to get up. Night Sorrow nodded and continued to meditate. Soon after, he realized that there was a special kind of energy within the energy that enveloped him. He knew that it was the time energy that Little Kong had mentioned. Circulating the Myriad Tau tome at full speed, Night Sorrow opened up his body and started to absorb the time energy. Then he started to refine it. It was a very pure energy. When Night Sorrow was refining the energy, he also refined the gray elemental energy. After refining it, Night Sorrow realized that his power of Desolate's attribute had increased. After cultivating for half a day, Night Sorrow stood up. Little Kong, you're too awesome. I can use the time energy to strengthen the Myriad Tau tome. However, the consumption is a little high. Activating the time energy above the 70th floor requires 5 high-grade spirit stones a day. However, it shouldn't be a problem for you. Little Kong said. Night Sorrow smiled. Other than the Saint Spirit Stones that he couldn't use and wouldn't squander, he still had over 700 top-grade Spirit Stones. He didn't care about using high-grade Spirit Stones. After chatting with She for a while, Night Sorrow casually washed up and left the space-time pagoda. He then went to the command tent. Peak 6th level Venerable. Night Sorrow, your cultivation speed is too fast. Seeing Night Sorrow's cultivation base, the Grand Elder exclaimed in shock. It wasn't just the Grand Elder who was shocked. Luchin was also shocked. I ate the Dragon Spirit pill, so my cultivation base rose a little faster. What's the situation now? Night Sorrow asked the 2 women. Prince Wu Yu, King Yun, and Venerable Wu Hen haven't returned, so we don't know what's going on in the profound mysteries realm. We can only strengthen our cultivators and strengthen the defense line. Also, we've mobilized the demon beasts of the Unbounded Desolation and Qingtian region. They can act as our eyes and ears. Also, the Saints are guarding the defense line against the enemy's spies. They won't be able to easily invade, said the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, in the future, don't let those Saints do too much work. After all, the Saint contract isn't a joke. If there's a punishment, it'll be serious. All right, we'll pay attention. The Grand Elder nodded. Then, the Grand Elder told Yishang that 3 more invincible supremacies had appeared in the 9 regions world. One of them was Yi Shenquang from the Night Moon Dynasty, Li Chantian from the Extreme Celestial Locale, and Supremacy Yin from the Southly region. Continue to strengthen the high-level combatants and allocate resources. City Lords, please put in some effort. The 9 realms are in a world of chaos. The more experts we have, the greater our chances of surviving this calamity. Night Sorrow stood in front of the tent, looking out at the realm sea. Night Sorrow spent the rest of the time cultivating by the realm sea. 2 days later, Yi Wuyo, Shui Wushuang, and Shui Wushuang returned. Their battle robes were stained with blood. It was obvious that they had gone through a great battle. Father, King Yun, Venerable Wu Hen, you weren't injured, right? Night Sorrow asked the 3 of them. We weren't injured. We were ambushed and trapped in the enemy's formation. They sent peak venerables and venerables to surround us. If your father hadn't been able to tear open space and take us away, we wouldn't have been able to return. Shui Wuling cupped his hands toward Yi Wuyo. At the last moment, he and Yun Tianlong's lives have been saved by Yi Wuyo. They're starting to be ruthless. Don't go there for now, said Knight Sorrow with narrowed eyes. Shang-Er, it's useless to go there now. They've realized that the Western Nether region's territory has become a burden, so they stopped occupying it. Instead, they've gathered their forces in the Western Nether region and Eastern Cloud City. Even if we want to ambush and harass them, it won't be effective, said Yi Wuyo. Yes, their commander has some brains. That's interesting. Knight Sorrow looked at Lu Huahaining. Chapter 825. Poison. The sooner the better. I need it, Knight Sorrow said to Huahaining. I'll give it to you within 7 days. Huahaining bowed. Huahaining was a peak saint, but he didn't have the potential to become an invincible saint. After that, Knight Sorrow invited his father, Yun Tianlong, and Saint Wu Hen to drink. Then he went to the seaside and started cultivating. Knight Sorrow had his own plan. Once he became a 7th-level saint, he would go to the enemy's camp and mess with them. Seeing Knight Sorrow cultivate, no one disturbed him. Everyone trusted Knight Sorrow and knew that Knight Sorrow had his own plan. At this moment, in East Cloud City's City Lord's mansion, Jun Xuanji looked coldly at a group of people in front of him. You all swore that as long as those 3 entered the ambush, you would be able to kill them. But in the end, 6 of you were killed and then left. Lady Saintess, one of the 3 is too strong. He keeps sending out space blades and can even use law suppression. When we thought we could exhaust them to death, he tore through space and ran away, taking the other 2 with him. A man stepped forward and said, Holy Maiden, you can't blame them. I was there at the time. That person should have been a half-step saint or even a quasi-saint. It's just that his true chi hadn't broken through. He's really strong. Even a primary saint wouldn't be able to stop him if he wanted to leave, Shang Luo said. A half-step or quasi-saint with a spatial attribute is very hard to resist. The next time he appears, notify me immediately. Since he can tear through space, let's see if my spatial imprisonment or his spatial cut is stronger, Jun Xuanji said coldly. The others nodded. No one could stop Yi Wuyo from coming and going as he pleased. Jia Shun, return to the profound mysteries realm and tell my senior brother to come over, Jun Xuanji said to one of his subordinates. Xuanji, it's up to you how we fight this war. Because of the saint contract, we saints are just decorations, Xian Wenxiu said. The only cool thing is W2 and SF. The others are pirated SH*T. We were held back by the territory of the Western Nether Territory. We didn't make full use of our speed and lost the best time to expand our gains. If we had ignored the Western Nether Territory and directly attacked the Sanyuan Territory, this wouldn't have happened, Jun Xuanji said. Hearing Jun Xuanji's words, the others didn't say anything. This was because at that time, many people's opinion was to take things slowly and surely. That was indeed a mistake. In the future, you don't need to ask for everyone's opinion. If you have war plans, just give the order. Those who don't carry it out will be executed, Xian Wenxiu said. Xian Wenxiu knew that Jun Xuanji was very talented and capable. Her weakness was that she was not domineering enough because she was a woman. Last time, because others had suggested to stabilize the Western Nether region first, her lightning tactics were not implemented in the end. Jun Xuanji nodded, but he couldn't help but feel regret in his heart. If the decision he made last time had been carried out, today's situation wouldn't be like this. We can't let this drag on any longer. We were able to occupy the Western Nether region so quickly because the 9 regions world was not prepared for war. We have an absolute advantage in terms of preparation and mentality. If this drags on, it will be troublesome, Jun Xuanji said. At that moment, the leaders of the various forces in the profound mysteries realm nodded. The truth was right in front of them. Next, Jun Xuanji gave some more orders. They were to build a defensive line in the realm sea outside Eastern Cloud City. In addition, they were to send 3 people to the last remaining teleportation array in the 3 origin region to check on the situation. In the 3 origin region, Ho, who was meditating in the teleportation array's illusion array, suddenly felt his eyes light up because the profound mysteries realm's people had appeared. Following that, he crushed the communication crystal that Night's Sorrow had given him. Night's Sorrow was traveling through the spatial turbulence when he sensed the communication crystal shatter. His body flashed out of the spatial turbulence and arrived at the command tent. City Lord Tai Shu, gather all the peak venerables and above and wait outside the last remaining teleportation array. Do not approach without permission, Night's Sorrow said. After that, his body flashed, and he appeared dozens of feet away. This speed is comparable to a peak venerables. Something must have happened, Lu Qin muttered and went to gather the troops. After 15 minutes, Night's Sorrow arrived at the teleportation array and met up with Ho. Young master, they are very cautious. They only sent 3 people. They are probably trying to figure out the situation. They are also afraid of being ambushed. Our illusion array's effect is very strong. As long as we don't activate it, they won't discover that we have set up a composite array waiting for them. They won't discover us either, Ho said, clenching his fists. These 3 people are very important. We must keep an eye on them, Night's Sorrow said in a low voice. At that moment, Yi Wuyo, Tai Shu, Lu Qin, and the other high-level venerables came to Night's Sorrow's side. They are very cautious. We don't know when a large group of people will come, Tai Shu said. That depends on their leader's temperament. If it were me, I would send people to take the teleportation crystal and scatter elsewhere to continue setting up the teleportation array. That way, there's no chance of being ambushed. Of course, they might do that. They're also worried that they will be discovered by our spies if they move randomly, Night's Sorrow said. While Night's Sorrow was speaking, the 3 people from the Profound Mysteries realm took the teleportation array back. Very good. Protector Ho's illusion array is very powerful. They didn't discover anything. A large group of people will probably arrive soon, Night's Sorrow said, clenching his fists. Elder Hua, where's the poison I want? Night's Sorrow looked at Hua Haining and asked. This storage ring has poison, poison water, and everything else. They are all extremely poisonous and are effective against anyone below the Saint Realm. Hua Haining handed a storage ring to Night's Sorrow. Night's Sorrow, aren't you going to kill them directly? Xue Wuhan looked at Night's Sorrow and asked. In a war, exhaustion is an important factor that determines victory or defeat. It's best if we don't exhaust ourselves. Once they realize that they are trapped, they will desperately fight to the death. They are all dead. It's not worth it to be dragged down by them, Night's Sorrow said. That makes sense. Even if we die in battle, it has to be worth it. Yun Tianlong nodded. Night's Sorrow and the others waited. He knew that the first real battle was about to begin. 2 days later, more and more people appeared from the teleportation array. There were 30 of them, and all of them were peak venerables. There were also 3 invincible venerables leading them. Leave 3 people behind to guard the teleportation array, one of the invincible venerables said. He was the sect master of the Profound Mysteries Realm's Profound Heaven Sword sect, Yi Xiantian. He was also the deputy commander of this war. Our mission this time is to set up the teleportation array and set up 3 routes. That way, even if 1 or 2 of them are destroyed, it won't matter. Once we set up the teleportation array, we can fight with all our might. At that time, their defensive line will be useless, and we will definitely win the war, Yi Xiantian said. We'll split into 3 groups, Yi Xiantian ordered. Protector Sure, do it. Night's Sorrow nodded at Protector Sure. Protector Sure stood up and crushed the Spirit Explosion formation, destroying the teleportation array around Yi Xiantian and the others. Chapter 826. How ruthless. We've been ambushed. Killing 1 is enough. Killing 2 is a win. Yi Xiantian roared at the people beside him. I knew you'd have such thoughts, but you won't have the chance. What I want is to kill the enemy without suffering any losses. Yishan took out the bottle of poison gas that Hua Haining had refined. With a wave of his hand, he threw it into the array, shattering the bottle. This is bone-rotting poison. Because of the formation protecting the space, the bone-rotting poison won't disperse. Hurry up and raise your protective chi shields. Otherwise, you'll die if you touch it, Yishan shouted as he smashed a bottle of poison. Despicable! Charge in all directions! Yi Xiantian shouted and gave the order to the people beside him. There's only victory and defeat in a war, regardless of the methods used. Those who dare to attack my nine-domain world will have to pay a painful lesson, replied Night Sorrow. It would have been fine if Yi Xiantian and the others hadn't moved. But once they did, the formation set up by Night Sorrow and Entropy took effect. Night Sorrow's ability to set up formations was average, but Entropy was powerful. He was an array grandmaster, and the formations he set up were able to communicate with law energy. The illusion formation trapped the profound mysteries realm's people within a certain range. Wind blades, flames, water ripples, and all kinds of elemental attacks continuously attacked the trapped experts. Night Sorrow flashed into the formation. He was the one who had set up the formation, so he could enter and exit as he pleased. Holding the reincarnation spear in his right hand and the sky-piercing spear in his left, Night Sorrow began attacking the trapped experts. Peak Venerables were very strong, but Night Sorrow's weapon had the Void attribute, so it was easy for him to break through their protective chi barriers. Once the protective chi barriers were broken, the profound mysteries realm's people would have to suffer the corrosion of the bone-corroding poison. Being attacked by Night Sorrow, the profound mysteries realm's people continuously curse it. Yishang didn't care at all as he continued to attack. Inside the array formation, he was like a blind man beating a blind man. Within East Cloud City's City Lord's mansion, Yi Xiantian, who was sitting below Jun Xuanji, stood up. It's over. We've fallen into a trap. They've set up a formation outside the transportation formation, and we can't break it. We'll probably be wiped out. Yi Xiantian had sent his spiritual avatar this time, so he could immediately report back. Despicable, curse Shang Luo. That's how war is. We can't say who's despicable. It's just that we didn't have the ability to scheme against them. They could have destroyed the teleportation array, but they chose to leave us behind, Jun Xuanji said as he tapped on the armrest of his chair. We can't escape. We are doomed to be annihilated, Yi Xiantian said with a sigh after sensing the battle situation. Then let's try to get as much information as we can. Let's see who their leader is. If we know their personality, we won't end up with nothing, Jun Xuanji said. Cowardly scoundrels, you don't even dare to fight us head-on. What kind of ability is that? Cursed Yi Xuantian's spiritual avatar. When you invaded the Western Nether region, you also didn't plan on fighting us head-on. Didn't you also launch sneak attacks and blitzkrieg attacks? You also didn't declare war on the 9 regions world, said Night Sorrow. What a sharp tongue. Do you dare to leave your name behind? Do you dare to leave your name behind? Yi Xiantian went back to his original goal. He wanted to know the name of the commander of the 9 regions world. I know that some of you have cultivated soul clones and want to maximize your benefits before you die in battle. Normally speaking, I shouldn't tell you. Today, I'll be a bit more magnanimous. My name is Night Sorrow, and I'm the commander of the profound mysteries realm. Do you dare leave your name behind and accept my challenge? Shouted Night Sorrow after breaking through another Peak Venerable's protective barrier. Holy Maiden, he said his name is Night Sorrow and asked if we dare to leave our name behind, said Yi Xiantian to Jun Xuanji. Tell him that if he dares to declare war, I won't accept his challenge. Go find me all the information on Night Sorrow. If you don't have it, go find the other cultivators in the Western Nether region. Jun Xuanji nodded coldly at Yi Xiantian. Then he gave orders to the others. Half a day later, Yi Xuantian's spiritual avatar and 30 Peak Venerables had been killed by Night Sorrow. Not a single one of them survived. This was a fatal blow to the profound mysteries realm. Unless they had the ability to break through space, they wouldn't even have a chance to escape. Cool. Hair. Of course, even if Night Sorrow relied on the formation to kill the 30 exalted ones, he wouldn't be able to do it in a short period of time. Later on, Yi Wuyo, Yin Tianlong, Shui Wuheng, and Bei Tiange joined the battle, and the battle ended quickly. After the battle ended, Shang removed the formation. Night Sorrow had Taishu and Lu Qin collect the resources. But the result was just as Night Sorrow had expected. Other than the necessary weapons and resources, they didn't bring any other resources. This battle was very effective. Lu Qin gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. It was strong, but my reputation is bad. Not only does the Nine Domains world know that I'm shameless, but the Profound Mysteries realm also knows, said Night Sorrow. This is a skill. In a battle where both sides are similar in strength, it's a competition of craftiness. Whoever is more scheming will be stronger, said Lu Qin. Let's wait a little longer. It's time for us to counterattack, said Night Sorrow. The others nodded. They had absolute trust and support for Night Sorrow. Whether it was saints or high-level venerables, if they were in his shoes, they wouldn't be able to do what he did. After that, Night Sorrow told the Nine Domains world's cultivators to continue increasing their strength and strengthening the defensive line. He went to the edge of the realm sea to cultivate spatial cracks. The Nine Domains world was stable, but the Profound Mysteries realm was a bit panicked. The Nine Domains world had crippled the Profound Mysteries realm's two super sects, the Profound Mysteries realm's Profound Heaven Sword sect and Wandering Cloud Sword sect. All of their peak venerables had died in battle. This was a great loss. The Profound Mysteries realm had lost more than a third of their strength under the Saint realm. Looking at Night Sorrow's information, Jun Xuanji couldn't understand. Holy Maiden, what are our chances of winning this battle? Asked Xian Wenxiao. We still have a 70% chance. Even if we make a mistake and lose a portion of our strength, the remaining venerables and peak venerables still have the power to crush them, said Jun Xuanji. The Nine Domains world actually used a 20-year-old child as their commander. That's a bit disappointing, said Shang Luo after looking at the information in his hand. That Night Sorrow is famous in the Nine Domains world because he's a cultivation genius. I just didn't expect him to have such a deep understanding of war. Because he's young, he doesn't have any misgivings and isn't bound by rules. He doesn't act according to common sense. He won't be easy to deal with, said Jun Xuanji. There are no tricks in war. Even if we win, we'll suffer great losses. We can't cause trouble among them right now, said Xian Wenxiao. Get ready. I'll take my people and take a flying ship to meet them head-on, said Jun Xuanji. Chapter 827. The Profound Pavilion was the strongest power in the Profound Mysteries realm. It was far stronger than the other powers, which was why it was able to command everyone. The competition within the Profound Pavilion was very intense. If the leader was a woman, she would be the Holy Daughter. If it was a man, he would be the Holy Son. Jun Xuanji was able to stand out among the countless geniuses the Profound Pavilion had nurtured. Not only was she intelligent, but she also had incredible cultivation talent. She had the power to fight new sages while still at the peak of the Profound Mysteries realm. Now that she was a half-sage, she was the strongest person beneath the Saint realm. That's one way. If we can directly crush them and kill their leader, we'll be able to break their momentum, said Xian Wenxiao. Night Sorrow cultivated for 2 days. He felt that his true qi had stabilized, and he entered the space-time pagoda to enter seclusion. He planned to raise his cultivation base to the 7th rank. The 7th rank was different from the 6th rank. One was a mid-rank, while the other was a late rank. There was a huge difference in power. Night Sorrow spent 2 days on the lower 70 floors of the space-time pagoda to raise his true qi to the 7th rank. His Myriad Dao treasure cannon also reached the peak of the 5th rank of the spirit refinement realm. He could enter the 6th floor at any time. Just as Night Sorrow was about to stabilize his cultivation base and break through the Myriad Dao treasure cannon, his messaging crystal shattered once more. Night Sorrow left the space-time pagoda and went to the command tent. He knew what had happened because a flying ship had stopped in the sky above the realm sea. Yes, since we can't outsmart them, We plan to fight them head-on. How strong are we right now? Asked Night Sorrow. We have about 10 unrivaled sovereigns and 30 peak sovereigns, said the Grand Uncle. Our strength is within their calculations. We have no chance of winning if we fight them head-on. Protector Shang, prepare to activate the formation at any time, said Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, I've come. Do you dare accept my challenge? Jun Xuanji appeared in front of the flying ship, an unrivaled sovereign and a quasi-sage at that. She has law energy revolving around her, said Xielan Jun. Who are you? Asked Night Sorrow as he walked out of the tent. I'm the commander of the profound mysteries realm, Jun Xuanji. Jun Xuanji narrowed her eyes at Night Sorrow. So you're the commander of the profound mysteries realm. Just use whatever techniques you have. I'll take them on, Yishang said. Originally, I thought you were an amazing person. Now it seems that you're just so, Jun Xuanji said, attacking Yishang. Who would wait for you to cultivate before fighting? Jun Xuanji was silent for a moment. She couldn't refute that. She was still working hard to become a sovereign when she was 21. You're changing the subject. Why aren't you talking about me? I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. If you have the ability, then attack. If you don't, then just lie there in the realm sea, Night Sorrow retorted bluntly. Does anyone from the 9 regions world dare to fight? Jun Xuanji once again challenged Night Sorrow. At that moment, Yi Wuyo went to Night Sorrow's side and nodded at Night Sorrow. Are you confident? Asked Night Sorrow. She's too arrogant. As your father, I must fight, said Yi Wuyo. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Yi Wuyo was the strongest subordinate of the 9 regions world saints. That holy maiden Jun Xuanji had also grasped the power of laws and was very powerful. No matter how strong she was, it would be impossible for her to kill Yi Wuyo. Yi Wuyo arrived in front of the 9 regions world's camp. I am Night Moon Dynasty's Yi Wuyo, said Yi Wuyo as he waved the spatial spirit artifact sword that Night Sorrow had given him. If my son can't fight, then I'll fight. The 9 regions world really can, said Jun Xuanji coldly. She had heard Yi Wuyo say that as a father, he must fight, so she had said it. She wanted to weaken Night Sorrow's influence. If my son can't fight, then don't waste your breath. My son has fought countless battles since his debut. He killed mid-stage saints as a beginner saint, and mid-stage saints have never lost against high-stage saints. You actually dare to say that my son can't fight? I'm not even 60 this year. That's not bullying you, said Yi Wuyo angrily. He was angry that Jun Xuanji was unscrupulously attacking Night Sorrow's momentum. Old witch, how old are you? Tell us, shouted Liang Yu. Hearing that Jun Xuanji was attacking Night Sorrow, the god-slaying squad's members had long since been infuriated. Then I'll test the power of a 60-year-old quasi-saint, roared Jun Xuanji as she charged at Yi Wuyo. Yi Wuyo's body flickered, and he also appeared above the realm sea. He swung his sword and began fighting with Jun Xuanji. Jun Xuanji and Yi Wuyo both had law energy protecting them, so they weren't afraid of the realm sea's law attacks. In truth, this is a battle between saints. Both sides' comprehension of laws is at the saint realm, but their true chi is at the peak of the saint realm, said Xielan Jun. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He was focused on the battle. Yi Wuyo's speed was extremely fast. As he waved his long sword, his sword chi tore through the air, creating spatial cracks. However, Jun Xuanji's defense was very powerful. All kinds of attribute energy appeared in front of him. Night Sorrow saw that there were 3 attributes: earth, water, and wind. Those 3 attributes intertwined, helping each other block Yi Wuyo's sword chi. This woman's talent is extremely high. Although the 3 attributes haven't fused, they're still able to support each other, said Long Xiansheng. Long Xiansheng had dabbled in many attributes, and he had a deep understanding of how to use them. He was able to see how powerful Jun Xuanji was. As the two of them fought in the air, Yi Wuyo's sword chi was blocked by Jun Xuanji, while Yi Wuyo dodged all of Jun Xuanji's sword chi. Because of his spatial attribute, Yi Wuyo's speed was not something Jun Xuanji could compare to. Just because you're fast, you're invincible. Spatial shackles, roared Jun Xuanji. The three attributes in front of her fused together, and she flew toward Yi Wuyo. Not good. The three attributes can use spatial energy to seal space. Long Xuanqing's expression changed. Then let's see how many times you can use that. A crescent moon slashed out from behind Yi Wuyo, and the sealed space was instantly cut open. Yi Wuyo's sword chi once more flew toward Jun Xuanji. Then let's see how many times you can break it. Jun Xuanji's voice was a bit cold. She hadn't expected her spatial shackles to be broken so easily. Next was the battle of rule force. Jun Xuanji didn't continue after using spatial shackles 3 times in a row because she consumed a lot of energy. Her soul force needed to control 3 different types of energy, which consumed a lot more energy than Yi Wuyo, who only used spatial energy. However, it wouldn't be easy for Yi Wuyo's sword chi to break through Jun Xuanji's defensive energy. Chapter 828. Spatial Rend with a low roar. Yi Wuyo used the complete space rend and directly entered the turbulent space. The first few times he used the space rend, he only used 50% of its power to break through the spatial seal. This time, he used his full power. After entering the turbulent space, Yi Wuyo's spiritual strength spread out, allowing him to sense the situation outside. Behind Jun Xuanji, Yi Wuyo once again tore open space, and the spatial rend extended towards Jun Xuanji's back. Jun Xuanji, who couldn't dodge in time, turned around and slashed out twice with his sword. Then, he used his 3 attribute powers to suppress the spatial rend. At this time, Yi Wuyo charged out of the spatial rend and used spatial blades once more. This was the ability that came after one's spatial energy was saturated, allowing them to use spatial blades without limit. Nethead 7 Send Spatial Rend. In this critical situation, Jun Xuanji used his trump card to shatter the spatial rend, allowing the berserk energy to block Yi Wuyo. Yi Wuyo was pushed back by the violent spatial disintegration, and a trace of red appeared at the corner of his mouth. However, Jun Xuanji was not much better off. His chest was directly pierced through by a spatial blade. You're very strong. This time I wasn't prepared. You have the advantage, but it's impossible for you to win, said Jun Xuanji as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Then if you can win, come, said Yi Wuyo as he waved his sword. Just wait. It won't take long to break your spatial rend, said Jun Xuanji as he flew into the airship and directly retreated. Yi Wuyo also returned to the edge of the realm sea. Father, are you all right? Asked Knight Sorrow anxiously. I'm fine. I was just struck by the spatial rend's energy. I just need to meditate for a bit. However, that woman is truly powerful. I can't break through her crisscrossing energy defenses, so I can't kill her, said Yi Wuyo. That's a troublesome matter. Her cultivation path is similar to mine. It's an ordinary combination of energy that connects to the power of space, forming the spatial rend of the laws of space-time, said Long Xianxing. Yes, her elemental powers amplify each other. She is indeed very difficult to deal with, Yi Wuyo said. She's using 3 different attributes. Actually, she still has another attribute in her body. It's just that she hasn't used it yet. It's the dark attribute. If she were to fuse 4 different attributes, it would be difficult for you to fight against her. Of course, she still wouldn't be able to kill you, Long Xianxing said. Then, Long Xianxing explained to everyone that the fusion of 3 ordinary attributes would produce a special power. It could suppress ordinary attributes, resist the extreme attributes of ordinary attributes, and resist the suppression of high-level attributes. If it was a fusion of 3 extreme attributes, then it could suppress the extreme attributes of ordinary attributes and be on par with high-level attributes. If he had 4 extreme attributes, then his power would surpass the advanced attributes, but he would not be able to suppress the advanced attributes. Senior, The fusion of 3 extreme attributes is on par with the advanced attributes. But the fusion of 4 extreme attributes is still not enough to suppress the advanced attributes, Night Sorrow said. This is the truth of the heavenly Taos. Only the supreme attribute can suppress the advanced attributes. As for the other ordinary attributes, no matter how skilled you are in your research, it's not impossible to suppress them. Perhaps it's possible to fuse 5, 6, or even all ordinary attributes. But I don't know, said Long Xianxing. This crazy woman's talent is truly tyrannical. Today, she fused 3 extreme attributes, but she still hasn't used her dark attribute. It's probably because it's not an extreme attribute, so it doesn't match with her 3 extreme attributes. Otherwise, her combat power would be even more terrifying, said Xiaolanjun. She needs time. We also need time, said Night Sorrow with narrowed eyes. In truth, what he wanted to say was that he also needed time. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of Jun Xuanji's powerful attributes at all. That was because he had the supreme attribute, as well as the time and space attributes. What he lacked was time to increase his cultivation base. You don't have to worry too much. Father's spatial laws have reached perfection. I can tear space apart at any time. Even if I can't defeat her, I can still resist her, said Yi Wuyo as he looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and continued to cultivate at the edge of the Realm Sea. His cultivation direction was to stabilize his cultivation base and cultivate the power of the Myriad Dao Tome. In 4 days, Night Sorrow raised the Myriad Dao Tome's cultivation base to the 6th level of the Spirit Refinement Realm. His true Qi also continued to stabilize. Although the 9 Realms Saints didn't participate in the battle, they were still chatting and estimating the situation. Night Sorrow said that he needs time. Actually, he needs time to improve his cultivation base. He's the only one who can establish the foundation for victory, said Long Xianxing. He's a 7th level saint. It'll take too long for him to reach the invincible saint realm. Moreover, we've seen Jun Xuanji's strength. Yi Wuyo could only suppress him. Even if Night Sorrow has the power of time, it'll be difficult for him to win, said Heavenly Underworld Saint. That's because you're not experienced enough. The 9 realms are united. I'm not afraid of revealing Night Sorrow's secret. He has the supreme attribute. As long as he reaches the peak saint realm, as long as his true Qi can keep up, no one will be able to suppress him, said Long Xianxing. As soon as Long Xuanxing's words fell, all the 9 realms saints were a little stunned. For many people, it was extremely difficult to have high-level attributes. Most of them had reached the saint realm with the peak attributes of ordinary attributes. But now, Night Sorrow had the space and time attributes, 2 high-level attributes. Long Xianxing actually said that Night Sorrow had the supreme attribute. That's right. In the past, I was careful to hide it, because I was worried that he would be killed before he grew up. Now that the 9 realms are united, no one will hurt him, so there's no need to hide it, said Wu Lingfei. Then for us, as long as Night Sorrow grows up, we'll definitely win the battle, said Heavenly Underworld Saint excitedly. But if we can't withstand the suppression of the enemy, we can only retreat with our people and wait for Night Sorrow to rise. At that time, the 9 realms will suffer a huge blow, said Long Xianxing. Time. What we need is time, said Xiaolanjun. After that, everyone called Night Sorrow to the tent. How long will it take for you to reach the pinnacle of the saint realm? Asked Xiaolanjun. 3 months to half a year, said Night Sorrow, after thinking for a while. Your foundation must be stable. Don't ruin it, because you're too anxious to increase your strength. Long Xianxing looked at Xiaolanjun with dissatisfaction. He was worried that Xiaolanjun's words would break Night Sorrow's rhythm and destroy his foundation. Xiaolanjun cupped her hands to Long Xianxing embarrassedly. Long Xianxing said to Yishang, by the way, for the next 2 days, you should call your father and cultivate with me for a while. The chaotic space that I cultivate is very similar to that of the Holy Maiden. Then, Night Sorrow thanked Senior Long Xianxing on behalf of my father. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to Long Xianxing. After leaving the great sage tent, Night Sorrow told his father that Long Xianxing was willing to guide him. After that, he returned to the tent and sat down to cultivate, stabilizing his cultivation base and cultivating his soul power. At this time, Night Sorrow discovered the changes in his spirit sea. As his cultivation base and soul power increased, the Nihility Heavenly Fate Pearl had a reaction. Chapter 829. The Heavenly Fate Pearl of Void floated in Night Sorrow's spirit sea, which was already very thick with soul power. At the same time, it was emitting streaks of light. The Law of Void. Night Sorrow had an epiphany. The streaks of light were the Law of Void. It was also the key to entering the Saint Realm. After making 2 messaging crystals and giving them to his mother, Night Sorrow informed her and entered the 70th floor of the Time and Space Pagoda. Then, he began to analyze and comprehend the Law of Void. For Night Sorrow, the Heavenly Fate Pearl of Void had such a change at this time. The higher the level of the cultivator, the more difficult it was for them to fight against cultivators with higher realms. Venerables could easily suppress cultivators below the Venerable Realm by mastering the unity of heaven and man. Saints and half-step saints could easily eliminate Venerables because they had mastered the power of law. The power of law was the manifestation of an elemental law. It belonged to the power of the heavenly Tao. Venerables could not contend against it. In the Venerable Realm and Saint Realm, if they wanted to fight against cultivators with higher realms, they would have to work hard on their realm. Night Sorrow was not afraid of Venerables when he was at the Void Inquiry stage because he had already attained the unity of heaven and man realm. Now, not to mention fighting against saints, even fighting against half-step saints would require him to have the power of law. Therefore, when he discovered that the Heavenly Fate Pearl of Void had displayed the power of law, Night Sorrow was incomparably excited. It was equivalent to giving him the capital to fight against half-step saints. Yuqing arrived at the command tent and passed one of Night Sorrow's messaging crystals to Senior Granduncle. After that, she went to the Saint Realm's main tent and passed another messaging crystal to her husband. "He's in seclusion?" Wu Lingfei asked. "Yes. He was very excited just now. It should be because he has some opportunity to make a breakthrough in some aspect." Yuqing was very proud when she mentioned her son. "The pressure on this guy is too great. We can't do anything about it. Young concubine Yu is of the earth attribute. She's of the same origin as me. She can also follow me." Long Xiansheng looked at Yuqing and said, "Thank you, Senior." Yuqing cupped her hands towards Long Xiansheng. She knew that cultivators who had reached the saint level, especially the high-level saints, would mostly seclude themselves to cultivate. They were not willing to impart their knowledge to others, nor were they willing to accept disciples. This was because they would be tainted with the mortal world and get into trouble, which would delay their own cultivation. "It's nothing. Don't worry too much about it." Long Xiansheng shook his head. Then the group of people went about their own business. Entropy was very busy because Taishu and Lu Qin had given him a lot of resources to set up formations at the defense line. Everyone had seen the power of the formations he had set up a while ago. It was a Grandmaster-level composite formation that could easily kill or trap a peak Venerable. Entropy, who was only a level 3 Venerable, had found his value. His achievements in the field of array formations could be maximized, so he was willing to do so. Night Sorrow was on the 70th floor of the Space-Time Pagoda. While consolidating his true Qi and Myriad Dao's treasured tome, he was constantly analyzing and comprehending the law of nothingness. Some of the peak Venerables who had obtained Saint Crystals and Source Stones felt uneasy because they were not complete laws. It was hard to say whether they could comprehend them or not. However, Night Sorrow was not worried. His Heavenly Fate Jewel was the complete source of a world. It contained perfect laws. As long as he could comprehend it, there would be no problem for him to control the power of perfect laws. When he comprehended the key points, Night Sorrow activated his protective barrier and used his protective true Qi to deduce. As Night Sorrow continued to comprehend and deduce, the structure of Knight Soro's energy shield began to change as well. Strands of energy began to appear on the surface of his energy shield. The energy surged and melted away all the pure energy within the space-time treasure pagoda that approached Knight Soro. In other words, the rich energy within the space-time treasure pagoda could not get close to Knight Soro. If it did, it would melt away. After comprehending for 5 days, Knight Soro woke up. After drinking some wine, Knight Soro ate the dragon spirit pill and started cultivating with the desolate stone in his hand. At the same time, he continued to comprehend the law of nothingness. Young 8 Geo, read 2C novels for free. 2 days later, Knight Soro's Myriad Daos treasure tome reached level 6 of God Refinement. Then, he naturally stabilized and improved his power of desolates. At the same time, his true chi cultivation was also increasing rapidly. After 20 days in the space-time pagoda and 10 days in the outside world, Knight Soro's true chi had reached the peak of level 7 supremacy. The Myriad Daos treasure tome had also completely stabilized at level 6 of God Refinement. Knight Soro's biggest gain was that he could control a part of the law of nothingness. In addition, Knight Soro discovered that when he was comprehending the law of nothingness, his soul power was increasing rapidly. The heavenly fate pearl of nothingness was also constantly absorbing his soul power and sending it out. In other words, it was getting more and more under his control. This was a good sign. Knight Soro knew that if this continued, it would only be a matter of time before he comprehended the law of nothingness. He was also not far from refining the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness. When they reached the 60th floor of the space-time pagoda, Knight Soro communicated with Xueshi. He knew that Xueshi had worked hard to recover and had reached the late stage of level 5 Sage. She could return to level 6 Sage at any time. Then the two of them cultivated together. While enjoying themselves, Xueshi took away Knight Soro's essence chi and also helped Knight Soro's body, the Myriad Daos treasure tome, and his true chi nourished. They didn't immediately leave the space-time pagoda. Knight Soro communicated with Xueshi. He wanted to test out the law of nothingness he had comprehended and see how strong it was. Knight Soro asked Xueshi to use an 8th rank supremacy's attack. When Xueshi's sword chi reached the area affected by Yishang's striped chi shield, most of it disappeared into thin air and turned into nothingness. The remaining part of the attack was unable to break through Yishang's chi shield. Is this the supreme law of nothingness? It can ignore 80% of my attacks. Xueshi was a bit dumbfounded. Then try using your law of nothingness to suppress it, said Knight Soro to Xueshi. Xueshi nodded and used her law of wind and water to suppress Knight Soro's body and surroundings. However, Knight Soro's body flashed, and he was still able to move freely. The law of nothingness was completely neutralized by the purple light emitted by Knight Soro's striped barrier. That's too domineering. Xueshi was truly impressed. Knight Soro didn't have the ability to fight back, but he was like a lone boat in the ocean. He couldn't be overturned. It's still not enough. My speed has been suppressed by half. Without speed, I can still kill however I want. I'll go out for a breath of fresh air and come back to continue comprehending, said Knight Soro to Xueshi. Just now, when Xueshi's law of nothingness had covered the 60th floor, Knight Soro's barrier had been able to pass through. However, his speed had been reduced by half. That was something he wasn't willing to accept. In a battle, speed was very important. Without speed, one would be at the mercy of others. After leaving the Time Pagoda, Knight Soro walked around. Under the pressure, the members of the God-slaying team had reached the Venerable Realm again. Ho Jian had already broken through to the Venerable Realm. Lei Bao and Xueling were also in the stagnation stage. This made Knight Soro very happy. With the increase in their cultivation bases, their ability to protect themselves would be stronger. Xikong Qiyu and Yang Lei were both at the peak of the 5th grade. The two of them had been stagnating all this while. Because they had the ultimate attribute, the difficulty of their advancement was much harder than Ho Jian, Lei Bao, and the others. The one whose cultivation base improved the fastest was Aoi. Her cultivation base was already high. In addition to the abundant resources she had, she was now at the late 6th level of the Void Inquiry stage. You may spend some time with Night Sorrow. She was now at the 4th level of the 5th grade. Her speed of improvement was much faster than ordinary cultivators. When they arrived at the command tent, Night Sorrow asked about the recent situation. He discovered that there were no movements at all. The cultivators of the 9 regions world were all trying their best to improve their strength. It's the calm before the storm. That woman is probably researching a stronger spatial confinement technique. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, "You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.